Hey gamers, welcome back to a brand new DSP video. We are going to be watching DSP discuss some FGC discourse because of course we are. So let's get right into it. Let's fucking go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a brand new week of streams here on DSP Gaming. We got a good one. This week, we've got continuing and completing playthroughs. We've got a brand new hyped game. We've got nice chill streams at night, and we got a fun podcast today. It's the return show, meaning I'll get you caught up on everything, how stuff's been going with the current playthroughs, how my day off was, and today...
By the way, I don't think he did talk about his day off, but before this, he was telling people, yeah, I don't think you guys need to know it goes on my day off, and all this stuff. And then, like, after his day off, I'm going to tell you about my day off. Like, that's so baked into his script, he forgot that he canceled the day off segment. It's so baked in. And honestly, there's really nothing of, like, personal information in the days off. So, like, you know, he told us about his day off for, like, years. And now, suddenly, out of the blue, it's like, well, this is personal information. Dude, like, you told us you ate food and what games Cat was playing. Like, what personal information was used against you, dude? Did it get to him that, like, people were, like, surprised that Cat plays shovelware or something? Like, is that the problem? Everyone's making fun of the games my wife plays. Okay, but you make fun of games that anyone plays still. Okay, come on now, dog.
Today we're going to tackle an interesting topic. That age-old question of old versus new.
So this is the other aspect of DSP's fighting game discourse that can be really boiled down. He really only participates in FGC stuff when it comes to old versus new, just in general, or if if someone's exposed as a sex pest or whatever the fuck that he happens to dislike, then he'll jump in and throw his hat into the ring with that. But when it comes to anything else, he doesn't care. Like, he's not gonna he doesn't give a shit about, like, anything else. Like, he didn't even, like, try to understand as to, like, the release of DLC for Street Fighter 6. He just thinks that, oh, they're taking for too long or whatever the fuck, but why? Think about it, dude. Or anything else. Like, there's a lot of, like, discourse in the FGC that he doesn't participate in. But he always participates when it's, like, old versus new. But this is, like, let's fucking go.
Were fighting games much better back in the day? Or is it just that those salty old FGC boomers are angry?
Why is he... See, this is what I don't understand. Like, this is like what I said about, like, The Simpsons, right? They start to retcon Homer's age, because obviously, you know, if they want The Simpsons to remain relevant, they're gonna have to, like, move Homer up in the years, right? Like, oh, instead of being born in, like, the 60s or whatever, or the 50s, I guess, he's now born in the 90s or whatever. Like, you know, that's just how cartoons work. And that's what DSP is, because how is he mocking the old FGC when he's part of the old FGC? He has literally complained about the new FGC not respecting the old, and now he's like, oh, is it because of the old FGC are a bunch of boomers? Like, oh, okay, dude, look in the mirror.
Because they suck at fighting games today and can't. Or is it just that age-old question of old versus new?
And by the way, this is, like, such, like, TV newscaster hype. Like, you know when you start the news in the morning and they always tell you, like, oh, today on the Today Show we're gonna talk about this and this and this and this, and then, like, the hot topic is, like, saved at the end.
Were fighting games much better back in the day? Or is it just that those salty old FGC boomers are angry because they suck at fighting today?
Look at this fucking hand motion. He keeps doing it.
Is it just that those salty old FGC boomers are angry because they...
He keeps doing this, and it's so annoying. Like, in any, like, This is all he does now. It's so dumb. What like I started noticing it and I can't stop noticing it. Like he does it for everything almost.
Suck at fighting games today and can't hang with the new blood. You might say, well, why am I
Wait,
old
what? Oh my
FGC
god.
boomers are angry because they suck at fighting games today and can't hang with the new blood.
This makes no sense. Like I did watch the video, Bunchug's video by it, on his own. I didn't just watch how DSP reacted to it, but I watched Bunchug's video. It has nothing to do with like, oh, because he's gonna get like really into the Metroid Flash tweets, but nowhere in Metroid Flash's tweets did he say that he couldn't hang. He just said like it's like he fights all these people who are like kind of like that. They're not good at the fighting, and I understand what he means because I kind of feel I'm in that kind of bracket in a way, because I feel like that I don't truly understand fighting games or the meta or whatever, because I honestly just mash. I know like whatever. I don't give a fuck. I just play to have fun. So I don't feel like I'm like, oh guys, I'm an FGC head. I know frame data. I know what's plus minus. I don't know what any of that shit is, and I don't care. I like being in ignorance sometimes when it comes to fighting games. But all Metroid Flash is saying is basically like there's a lot of people who are playing the game, and it's just like it's very accessible to people who like don't like want to learn or whatever. And I kind of feel that and I've heard that with other people too. Like I've heard that about people who play Strive. Like Strive is done in a way that people can play it and they think that they're actually really good, but they hop into like Exard. It's not they're gonna get their asses kicked. And I think like that's just how it is. Honestly, like obviously every game is a video game that wants people to buy their game. Like fighting games are like a very niche genre technically, so they obviously want to expand their horizons. So they're gonna just do whatever. Uh, but whatever. Okay, let's.
You might say, well, why am I interested in this? Because we've been talking about this ever since the release of Street Fighter 6. How I feel one particular way about it.
He has said he was talking about this in Street Fighter 4. Like there are like Ask the Kings, maybe even Hate Lives of DSP bitching and moaning about Street Fighter 4 having like what easy inputs or shortcut inputs or whatever the fuck. And it's like, okay.
And a lot of people seem to disagree.
But yeah, Street Fighter 6 is the
there's
first
actually
one.
a big debate going on, and I'd like to have a nice little discussion about that with some corroborating testimony.
What is the corroborating testimony? Like this. I kind of want to like write this down a little bit so I can remember it easier. But his thesis. Oh jeez. He's saying basically his argument, his opening statement is that yes, okay, actually no, let's just rewind this.
We've been talking about this ever since the release of Street Fighter 6. How I feel one particular way about it, and a lot of people seem to disagree. Well, there's actually a big debate going on, and I'd like to have a nice little discussion about that with some corroborating testimony.
Corroborating testimony. Yeah, it's all just to like prove a point, but nobody's arguing. Like nobody's saying that fighting games aren't easier or whatever the fuck. But at the same time, if you're having fun, why care? Like people can always long for the older games, but they're still around. You can still play them. To varying degrees. Unless you don't play Guilty Gear Overture 2, you may have to go to a Discord for that one.
But of course, we'll have our usual antics. All this and more on the beginning episode.
Our usual antics.
Not here. Because here, first off, with all of the chaos and the craziness going on in the world, I hope that you are ready to come and hang out with me and unplug from all of that. Well, first off, with all of the chaos and the craziness going on in the world, I hope that you are ready to come and hang out with me and unplug from all of that drama and nonsense. And just have.
I love recalling it drama. we're calling it drama. Okay. Yeah, man. But, okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, let's just call
Have a
it
good time. That is
drama.
really what my goal is with my content, is to
That's all I'm
distract
just
everyone
gonna
from
say.
all of those things that are inundating you every moment, right? You turn on the TV, you open your phone, blah, 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 blah. Oh, God, again?
Again?
Gotta keep hearing this crap?
I just love we are like taking a real world event that like has a lot of implications associated with it, and we're just dumbing it down to it's drama. You turn on the TV and you just say, "What again?" Like, dude. I, I mean, come on. It's a little bit more than just, oh, is this drama, guys? Oh, they're just doing it again. Like, okay, well, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, not here. Because
Yeah,
here,
not
we
here.
firmly stick your fingers in your ears, cover your head.
I just love that this dude like hyped up his politics channel, and then and he did the politics channel honestly in the most like the safest way possible. There's no conflict with who's gonna like. Let's talk about DSP politics for a little minute here, and just highlight how much of a bitch ass show it really was, right? So he does the politics after the election. So he's not going to cover he wasn't going to cover the candidates, Kamala Harris or Trump. He wasn't going to go over that, where he could actually give insight into like, which candidate had a better platform, what platforms he liked or disliked for either. I mean, it, in actuality, he didn't even have to pick a side even to talk about the two candidates, because you could objectively find something you may like about both or dislike about both as well. I mean, no candidate is gonna be a fucking amazing candidate that's gonna be the cure for cancer, but you could find something. But whatever. So he doesn't get into the election. He waits until we know who won the election. So he has no stakes as to like who's gonna win. So whatever. I mean, conspiracy theory would be like, oh, so people don't blame DSP for who won the election. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, whatever. Secondly, uh, all he covered on his little politics show was like what, food banks, which was honestly the worst. Oh my god, I'm sorry, jeez, uh, which was probably the worst first episode ever. It was talking about food banks. Then he talked about uh immigration, but he doesn't. I don't think he understands the scope of all of the immigration discourse. He doesn't understand the scope of anything with that. So he kind of like was just focusing on like, well, if you're here illegally, that's bad, but that's as far as he went with that. Uh, he tried to talk about mental health, but he was not really discussing the issues with the system. Just focused on weird things, and then was just not really great. It was kind of like he put a lot. He was playing the blame game a lot, and then was mostly focusing on people who were arguing, not really talking about the subject matter. It was whatever. Uh, but then when he got inaugurated, DSP was like, "Well, maybe I'll talk about it." But then when he actually saw the stuff that Trump was doing, you kind of see the writing on the wall. Yeah, DSP's not going to talk about any of this stuff that Trump's doing, because a lot of stuff is like, again, it's very controversial what Trump has done throughout his first month of presidency and onwards and onwards. So there was no way that DSP would ever go back to politics. Because imagine if he did politics when we're talking about Iran. Imagine what this dude would have said. This dude, by the way, was like so upset that Biden was giving aid to Ukraine to fight against Russia. The country that we're enemies with, right? I thought we were not friends with Russia. I thought, whatever. He was upset about Biden giving money to Ukraine. But what does he think about this, right? Correct? We'll never know. We'll never know.
shove it in the ground, ignore all that nonsense. No, in reality, I just want to entertain you guys and give you something to do rather than having to hear the same crap from every other.
I just love, like, I think on the other end of the politics channel, he can't really market anything, because if he didn't do politics, he would get the free point. See, guys, I'm not dealing with politics right now. You can come to me and enjoy me playing video games. And it's like, it's free PR. And DSP, being an opportunistic person, seizes on that opportunity to brag about not focusing on politics and division and blah blah blah.
Talking head on the internet, you know what I mean? So, I hope that you guys are ready to relax and get caught up. We're going to get caught up on everything I've been doing. We haven't had a podcast in a couple of days now. You know, we didn't do one on Friday. I wasn't here yesterday. So we'll get caught up on the status of all the current games and playthroughs that I'm doing, so you have an idea of what's coming up this week.
Okay.
Right now, fighting games are in an interesting state of flux, okay?
Oh, boy.
There's a lot going on in fighting games, and as you know, I play fighting games on my stream.
Did you know he plays fighting games, guys? Did you know that?
FGC.
I don't think you did.
All right, why?
Why?
I just don't really care about playing competitively or going to a tournament anymore. That doesn't mean that I don't have a lifetime of knowledge playing these games in arcades.
Hold on, I want to hear this.
Don't really care.
I want to hear this again.
There's a lot going on in fighting games, and as you know, I play fighting games on my streams, but I don't consider myself a part of the FGC. All right, why? Because I just don't really care about playing.
He doesn't consider himself a part of the FGC, which, I mean, sure, he doesn't participate in, like, tournaments. He doesn't interact with a lot of people in the FGC outside of his weird, I'm using this very loosely, friends bubble. You know, like, the old team I hate people. I don't remember the names. So, you know, whatever. Those people. And that's it. That's as far as he reaches. But he doesn't talk about to anyone else. He doesn't give a fuck. Whatever.
Playing competitively or going to a tournament anymore. That doesn't mean that I don't have a lifetime of knowledge playing these games in arcades, in competitions, both at home on console online, but also in real life. I know what they've been like over the years. I've seen how they've evolved, and I've given you my opinions on that. Currently in the FGC, there's a lot of things going on. Notably, right now, there is a big evolution where a lot of new fighting games that are coming out apparently are not even going to have input motions. Do you remember?
Two games. It's that League of Legends fighting game. I think it has a stupid name now. It's like 2XKO, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's not that. I don't know. Whatever. That game and the Invincible fighting game, which a lot of people dogged on, by the way. Like, I don't think any of these. I don't think these two games are gonna, like, do much in the way of fighting games. Like, I don't think Capcom is gonna look at this and be like, guys, you know what to do for Street Fighter 7. I don't think they're gonna do that. Same with Arc System. I don't think they're gonna do that either with Guilty Gear. I think this probably gonna play more like Strive, if anything. But they're not gonna magically decide to do what DSP is thinking that's gonna happen with these two random ass fighters. But whatever, okay.
Remember we watched the trailer or the announcement for the Invincible fighting game that's going to be coming out from the makers, apparently, of all games, Killer Instinct. Well, guess what? Apparently that game...
Why is that such a weird thing? People who made a fighting game are making a fighting game. Of all things. Did he say this when NetherRealm was going to do Injustice 1? Of all companies, NetherRealm. I mean, technically, I guess they had DC versus Mortal Kombat, so that's like the gateway drug to them making Injustice, I guess. But NetherRealm is still known for gore. I mean, whatever, okay.
Has absolutely no inputs. It's just pushing a direction and pushing a button does a special move or a combo. So a lot of people are debating, is this where fighting games are going? And that leads to...
No, nobody's debating that. The debate is how stupid that is. Nobody's saying, do you think fighting games are going to adopt this? I don't think so. I mean, at least from what I have seen from people who talked about this, is just dogging on the play style. Whatever.
To a discussion of, well, when you take out challenge of input, like, for example, the skill gap of executing a combo, doing a special move, if you remove all of that, and you just make it instead kind of gameplay elements of when do you do certain things rather than can I even execute them, does that change the skill level of a game? Does that change the entertainment factor? And that
Wait, what?
gameplay elements of when do you do certain things rather than can I even execute them, does that change the skill level of a game? Does that change the entertainment?
Oh my god, dude, are you stupid? What do you think? This is so he's asking these questions, but like, do you think removing execution is gonna be fun? I don't know, DSP. Is that gonna change fun if we just remove execution? Like, let's hear this question
And you
again.
just make it instead challenge of input. Like, for example, the skill debating, is this where fighting games are going? And that leads to a discussion of, well, when you take out challenge of input, like, for example, the skill gap of executing a combo, doing a special move, if you remove all of that and you just make it instead kind of gameplay elements of when do you do certain things rather than can I even execute them, does that change the skill level of a game? Does that change the entertainment factor? And that actually has led to an even bigger debate on, is it already there? Like with a game like Street Fighter.
I love he has this discussion. We don't even talk about this, and the main point he hypes up with button check. Like this is like a one and done thing, and he doesn't give us his 2 cents on this. Like, this is what's like frustrating about DSP's fighting game segments when he talks about them is he doesn't have an opinion. Like, I have more of an opinion, and I'm not like that deep in the fighting game meta bullshit. When I have more takes than the guy who fucking participated in tournaments, you know something happened. Something's wrong here.
Fighter 6. Isn't it funny that almost every character has a get one hit immediately because of the drive rush mechanic, go right into a ginormous combo that does wild damage, pushes you to the corner?
But isn't that every other fighting game? Like, you could do that with like the, even in Guilty Gear Exard has mechanics like that. And these are skilled mechanics. These aren't like baby mechanics that you can like when you do the dust, you can either launch them up in the air and do an aerial combo, or you can like push them to the wall and do a wall combo and trap them there and keep them there sometimes. And then you can do a combo that leads to an insta kill. Like, this has been a thing in fighting games. Oh, okay.
Corner, and now it's just a guessing game. And that's the whole game. Like, that's Street Fighter 6 in a nutshell. I've actually described all of the gameplay elements of the game. And back in the day, it wasn't like that. Back in the day, every character played differently. The game was a lot more varied.
But games do play differently. Like in Street Fighter 6, does Elena have a cadence spike? No, or a cadence drill, whatever the fuck. No. Do they all have a nose grapples and metal system? No, they don't. Wake up.
Varied, and also supposedly needed more skill to actually play. And this has led to this big argument. New school versus old school. New school players who only have played games like Street Fighter 6 or the recent Tekkens, comparing to the old days when, you were in arcades grinding it out and it was a lot different. And people arguing back and forth what was.
It's so funny this dude is like talking about grinding it out when this dude cried about people grinding it out in Street Fighter 6. Oh, they go to the lab and they do this and they do that. Hates when people grind it out. But it was cool back then though. Oh, yes.
Was better? Are fighting games bad today, or are they better than ever? So we're going to talk about that today. There's a particular video from Button
No, you
Check
don't.
that
You
he
don't
came
talk
out
about
with
that at all.
in the last day that was actually a really good
Like,
one.
again, what he just said had nothing to do. Bunchuk's video was just about people who play the game, not like anything about the games themselves. But whatever, okay.
That gets that discussion going, and I'd like to chime in and give you my thoughts on that topic today because, we don't talk about fighting games all the time, but when we do, I feel like, hey, I should every once in a while at least give my 2 cents on this stuff. I know some people in my community care, and, hopefully get some discussion going. All right.
I mean,
So,
I care to laugh at it though.
good stuff. Anyway, so let's
Good
get
stuff.
started with the general topics. So, for example, I'm in the midst of a ton of. So, you guys start off today scared, so I'm not doing art.
Okay.
We started off the week on a slower hit. Well designed was June 30th, and really are divided on this. Some people are really liking this meal, and some people are hating it.
Okay, I don't
If
care
we
about
hit
this.
3, all right?
Does he talk about the day
So
off?
let's get it going.
I don't think he
Let's get some
does.
support. First sub. All right. So let's. It was actually a very slow week for support, but this
Okay.
is talk. How long will this be? What's going on? Our Onimusha 2, which that would mean that I think it comes out on the 26th. So that would be Thursday. And so, yeah, we'll begin the playthrough on Thursday. Hopefully the game is good. I'm going to be honest with everyone.
Hopefully the game is good. He loved Death Stranding, by the way. He's a huge fan. He loves it. He got the ending of the game, but needs to be reminded on the story. I mean, I do get that, though. That's a little bit unfair because, you know, the game came out like years ago. It was a PS4 game. I guess I can understand it, but I also think there is a level of fun to see, like, you play Death Stranding. Like, I'm gonna play Death Stranding 2, and I just want to see how much I can recall from the first game. But I think I can get it.
Everyone right now, all right, I'll be very honest with all of you. I really don't know if Death Stranding 2 is going to work as a lengthy playthrough. All right? You might say, wait, what do you mean?
What do you
Didn't
mean?
you play the whole first game? Oh, yeah, I did. But don't you remember the whole first game? The first game was insanely boring. The gameplay elements.
I just want to highlight that this dude hypes up all his streams as chill streams. This is chill, that's chill, chill. And especially the night streams. Like, we play fucking sim games. But we can't possibly extend the idea that Death Stranding 2 could be a chill game. Like, at all. Now, he may cope with that when the game comes out and all this, but he's gonna be willing to drop it because, it's not as fun, like, because there is some gameplay in Death Stranding 2. As much as a lot of haters want you to not believe in, there is gameplay in Death Stranding 2. You do have to be engaged with the gameplay a little bit more than the sim games he likes to play so much.
Elements of Death Stranding 1 were not good. I'm sorry, Mr. Kojima-san, but the gameplay.
Mr. Kojima-san. I picture that image of that white guy in a kimono. You know what picture I'm thinking of. Like, every time DSP says that, that's what I imagine. You could just say, he doesn't even need to say this. Like, does he, like, and all this is the same thing he does with Guilty Gear sometimes. This dude is so traumatized by fan bases that he thinks he has to go out of his way to, like, show he cares. Like, dude, people were, like, giving you shit about the Kojima thing because you were, like, being obnoxious. Like, you can hate MGS all you want, up and down. Like, there's still people who don't like Metal Gear Solid, believe it or not. And they don't sit there like, Kojima is a piece of shit. They don't go into these, like, long tangents about it, like, as much as DSP did. They just kind of like, yeah, I don't like his games. And then that's it, like, normal people. But this dude is like, it's like he has a sniper ready to take him out if he says anything. Like, yeah, I respect Guilty Gear players. They're cool and fun, and I think their games are actually good. I don't think they're weird. I like Death Stranding, but the gameplay is not that good. Like, that's just all it is.
Gameplay of the game was very, very tedious, very, very lengthy, drawn out, and padded the length of the game. I feel Death Stranding 1.
This is padded out the length of the game. The game's about deliveries, and the deliveries made sense, and then you could, like, speed things up by building zip lines. Like, I literally, when I replayed on the PS5, I literally just built, like, zip lines everywhere. So it was just like, alright, I need to go here, okay, zip line. Like, that was it. I worked so hard to have a whole network of zip lines everywhere. Because I just wanted to see if I could. I don't know if my zip lines are still around. I hope people who have played Death Stranding, the director's cut, enjoy my zip lines. I worked hard on those zip lines. If people don't like those zip lines, if I don't get a million likes for them, they're all idiots. Those zip lines, I would argue, broke the game. You're welcome.
1 was a better movie or series than it was a game. Now, there were elements that were good. There were some interesting boss fights and things like that. But the story was absolutely the main focus of what was.
This is so dumb. Like the gameplay is so like I do understand that people don't like the gameplay. To be fair, I just think the way DSP says it's just I don't know how to describe it. It's like because he acts as if it's matter of fact, but it's not.
What was good about Death Stranding 1.
I guess what it is that he talks about the gameplay as if it's like unplayable, bad, shitty gameplay, and it's not. It's like sure the act of deliveries is tedious, but you can find like something enjoyable about the scenery in the game, or whatever. I mean, there's stuff you can enjoy about it, and DSP is sitting there saying, acting as if the gameplay was garbage, and it's not. But whatever. Okay.
The thing is, this is many years later. Today, people
Wait.
fights and things like that. But the story was absolutely the main focus of what was good about Death Stranding 1. The thing is, this is many years later.
Money years.
Today, people want me to play games that they can engage and have a good time with. They don't want to see me trudge through boring sludges. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it, that's pretty much fits the bill of Death.
But technically, though, like I mean, you could be negative about this too. All that you do in any fighting game, in any video game, is walking to destinations or getting somewhere. The only difference is that this game doesn't have like harsh combat or just combat. It's just at most stealth. You know, the thing that Kojima was known for, correct? And it's just stealth mostly in delivering. Like you're walking place to place like that. Whatever. Okay.
Of Death Stranding 1. Like, I remember during that playthrough, after I reached about the halfway point, people were just tired. They weren't showing up. They didn't really enjoy the streams. But at that point, I was in a different, situation. At that point, like when I bought a game,
No. He was a live streamer back when he played Death Stranding. He was doing like chill streams then. He was playing Minecraft then. He can't tell me, oh, I was a different streamer. No, you weren't. Because you were a different streamer in 2017.
Game, I basically had to see it to completion because I was financially in a really bad place. I couldn't just afford to buy any game that I wanted on the fly and do whatever I wanted like I can today.
This makes no sense. Because he did buy the game on a whim. Just by definition, any game you buy, you're buying it on a whim. It might be good, and it could just be bad too. And he doesn't have to finish it. There were games even back then he didn't finish. Dying Light 2. Oh my god, I stopped at Dying Light 2. I want to say he didn't finish Red Factions Remastered. I want to say he didn't finish that because he got bored of that. But whatever, okay.
I didn't have a gaming PC, so I didn't even have as many options. I was very limited to only play what was on console, which of course was also limited. And so I forced myself to beat it. I loved the ending, but a lot of people yelled at me saying, why'd I waste all that time playing it? The way I see...
Nobody yelled at him. Nobody. I hate when he says that people yelled at him. Like, I know what he means metaphorically and all this, but I don't remember anyone saying, even like Detroit saying, well, this game is boring. Because it's, I don't think people cared. It's like, they knew what the game was, and they're, I don't know. I don't think people really gave him shit for the game being boring.
I see it. If I don't play Death Stranding 2, a lot of people will give me hell. They'll be like, oh, it was the hot new game. You didn't play it, But at the same time,
so then why buy it?
And the way things are going with content and gameplay in my streams, I'm not sure this is going to be a full playthrough. I mean, I'm just being very honest with all of you up front.
I love that we forced Blueprints all the way to the end. We dragged that game from start to finish. We dragged Expedition 33 from start to finish. He's willing to drag all these games all the way to completion. But Death Stranding 2, he's already giving up. Like, and it's funny. Like, he's acting as if like he's actually doing manual labor with these games. Like, he's actually carrying them across the country. And it's like, no, you're not. You're just playing a video game. Why can't he balance these games with other successful playthroughs? Like, it's so infuriating when this dude could get, like, let's say magically gets $1,000 And he'll sit there and say, yeah, not every game, not every stream needs to hit the goal, and this and that. He gets a game that doesn't hit the goal every stream. Guys, I think I have to drop the game. What's the point?
All right.
All
I
right.
would like to play it and see if it's any good, if they've improved it, if it's any better. Obviously, the story is the hook for me, and I would like to experience the story, but I don't want to experience a 10-hour amazing story at the expense of 40 hours of insanely boring gameplay that we're all tired of, and you guys hate the streams, and I'm tired of
But
it.
how come we can sit here and watch them play fucking, like, I love that, like, we can sit here and watch them play fucking truck sim and taxi sim, and all it is just them just driving around. But we can't possibly do that with Death Stranding. Why?
Tired of the game, and no one's having a good time, because you know what happens. If no one's enjoying it, then no one engages, no one shows up, no one supports, and it's a waste of everybody's time.
Again, this is a problem with DSP, not the game. He puts all of the responsibility of entertaining his fans with the game. The game has to be entertaining, not the streamer. Like, you don't think this is a problem? You don't think that you just sitting there saying, "Oh, the game is boring" is a problem? No, it's the game. It's the fucking Skinner meme, the Principal Skinner meme. Am I boring? No, it's the games that are boring.
Time when I could be doing other things. Notably, some of the projects that we've talked about that I could do over the summer would be number one, Suikoden 2 HD, which I promised you guys I would play. You guys bought in to Suikoden 1 back a few months ago, showed up to every stream support.
The Suikoden 1 buy-in was gross. He literally sat there and like shook them from the ankles for their fucking pennies, like he does with Blueprints. He literally like just shakes them down for any money that falls.
Supported it in droves, and I said fine because you guys were so awesome during that. All right, I would absolutely consider continuing and doing the sequel this summer.
But you know, do you think he did that when he was working at Wells Fargo? I took a loan. Now, if you pay us back a loan today, you can fund the Red Robin Fund. I don't know. Then like he just sits there, he just starts hounding them to pay up. Like, guys, pay up! Come on. Now, guys, you have a loan with us, and you need to pay it back. Guys, come on. Okay, look, you don't have to pay it today, but at least tomorrow. I think we need to get let's end the week strong and have you pay back your loan.
I'm gonna try to do it.
With our interest, yes. The kingly interest.
In addition to that, we've also got GTA 4, which we've been discussing. Undertale, which I guess did finally, not Undertale, excuse me, oh god, what's the new one?
Oh my god, is he gonna keep dangling Deltarune? Dude, didn't he only play like chapter 1? And he didn't do a genocide run in Undertale either. He avoided that like the plague. Like it's very weird. He never really did it. I don't know why. I don't know why he never did it. But I think it's because it's like very hard, and he probably knows that people are gonna like laugh at him, so he didn't do it because he didn't want to be laughed at. Probably. I haven't played Undertale. I own it, but I never went back to it.
New one, not Undertale. The original one popped into my head. Whatever the new game was from Toby Fox that fully came out recently.
And it was
Deltarune. Thank you. It's the Hutch.
Man.
It's Deltarune is the new one. And you know,
so there's
options.
New Switch too?
There's definitely options of things that would be interesting. Unsure if it's going to be good or not. It's a mech game that seems to be very doing it.
I love that he said that he's gonna do the mech game, and then went to I don't know if he'll play the mech game.
And then we've got doing will be the entire nowhere, and so invest on or do it.
Okay, I don't give a
time. It was very 5 years ago. Things were going really bad for me.
This is dumb. This like fuck off, man. You got a fucking bankruptcy and bragged about it. Like I'm sorry, but if you sit there and tell us that you succeeded because you were happy you got your bankruptcy, I don't feel bad. I feel bad for people who file for bankruptcy because they have nowhere else to, nothing else, like going for them or whatever, right? I don't feel bad for DSP filing for bankruptcy because he literally talks about this bankruptcy as if it was a tool, like a means to an end. Like, that's it. which is kind of, in my opinion, kind of scummy that this dude like just saw that as like, well, I need to do this and then I can like rebound from it, man, or whatever the fuck. Like, it didn't sound like he didn't want to do it. Like, I don't know. It's complicated.
Okay. And it
Okay.
kind of saved me, to be frank. Okay. Now, a lot of things have changed since then. Basically, the whole idea kind of got really stale. Doing it was just kind of going through the motions rather than doing it as some kind of a celebration.
Wow, going through the motions. Ah, yes.
To be honest, it was frustrating because trying to wear a vest when it's hot and stuff, like, oh God, you know. So
It's funny, like when it was winter, because he was like, "Oh, I can't wear this," blah blah blah. But he'd do the same thing in the winter. Like, there was no, then he would say, "Well, guys, in the spring it would be great," and then like, it's
wore itself
silly.
out. All right. And now a lot of things have changed. Now that my upgrades have made
Okay, I don't
so
care.
the vests. All right. And so
And it's not really retirement. He's just gonna put in a box and say that, well, we could always use them for another event. So it doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
what we're gonna do on Indivestance Day
In
is we're gonna have a
divestments? Oh
throwback
my
event
god.
where you guys are gonna be able to pick. Do you want to see? Oh, there's like 20 hats, and every time I wear one, it's like the last time you'll see it. And
It's funny. I feel like we're gonna see hats that he never wore, because he had a Viking hat he never wore again. Every time he would wear the Viking, it would be the knitted Viking hat. He never wore the other one. He had two, and he never wore the other one. I don't know why. And that one looked better than the fucking felted one, because that one looks fucking stupid. It looks like whatever. Okay.
yeah, and for a lot of these, it'll be the first time you'll ever see them in actual HD because my old setup, the visuals,
Okay.
but maybe there would be. So kind of like a special event would be a reason for me to bring these back. Maybe another marathon in the future or something.
So they're gonna be used for marathons. So then why hype this up as a retirement? This is like like man, this is okay.
Like that. Okay. Now, also, there'll be booze that day. Yes. For every milestone of me raising support, I will probably take a shot, or maybe I'll have some drinks. I have a bunch of stuff now. I got the alcoholic lemonades. I've got the White Claws, the Smirnoff Ices. I got all this stuff I could drink during the day. And since it's going to be like a summertime vibe, I think my wife's going to be making some food, some like cookout style food that we'll have during the course of the day as well.
But you can't cook out. You have no
the
grill.
other main focus really will be the focus of the day. I got to clean this closet out badly. All right. If you remember, it was either 2 or 3 years ago now. I want to say it's like 3 years. It's been that long. Time is flying. I did a closet clean out. And when I did, this closet, oh my God, do you remember the stuff that I found in there? Stuff from ancient times and stuff.
Man.
And I did a clean out at that point.
Okay.
But what's happened is now in the last year, since I've fully
like, if you thought, like, man, it's this gonna be boring. Like, this is actually gonna be worse. The other one was like, because okay, we're gonna see if my theory is true. I feel the stuff he cleaned out in the last closet clean out, the stuff that he didn't throw away, at least I'll give him that much, just went back in the same closet. I feel we're gonna see the same shit. That's what I think. That's my theory.
fully upgraded my entire setup. Okay. Stuff has accumulated yet again. Garbage. And the problem is I need to use this closet. Like, right, old decorations that I used to use for my background that I'm probably never going to use again are crammed into the crevices. Junk is in there, boxes, garbage. And the problem is I need to use this closet. Like, right now I have all these Nintendo Switch 2 accessories. I can't put them in there. There's no room.
So, you see what's gonna happen? He's just going to just restock it with trash again that he's gonna throw out. Now, anyone with a brain can just say, well, why don't you also throw out some of these Nintendo accessories that you've already said is junk? Like, he could keep one carrying case for Cat, because it's Cat Switch too once he's done with it. Secondly, some of that stuff he could have returned, honestly. He just won't because he's lazy. It's dumb. It's dumb. Like, why does he, like, I need to use it. Like this dude, like, he puts it on the floor and it's like, I need to clean the closet, I can't put it in. Dude, you can put it in now. Like, he's making it seem like if you open the closet, it's just gonna be like a cartoon. You know, like, you open the door and it's like, the entire thing is a mountain of trash. That's what he's acting as if it is like if he tries to put it, it's just gonna be like bounce right off and back on the floor. Oh, dude, it's the closet, and also you have other closets. Like, okay, whatever.
The entire top shelf is hats I'm not wearing. I got a million vests hanging I'm not using that are taking up space.
Okay, but the vests are on hangers. I assume. Remember when you tried to Velcro the oh my god. He had that like hanger for the vests. I don't know where he put it, but he used Velcro to hold it. It's so funny that he doesn't want to like hammer anything into the walls or anything. Like the only thing that I know he screwed in was for the soundproofing room he uses now. But back then, but before that, he never would want to put nails because I think he's like, well, if I hammer the nails, it's gonna lower the value of the house. But it's like you're not gonna plan on moving, dude. Are you gonna move again? No.
Space. So what I need to do is go through there, clean it out, determine what I'm keeping. I'm gonna have a ginormous trash bag to throw out stuff that I don't want anymore that we can get rid of. And this is gonna be a good way to just kind of start fresh. This is something that I probably should have done 6 months ago when we upgraded the setup, but I haven't had a chance. So this will be a great time. It's going to be just a very chill vibe hangout day. We hang out, we enjoy each other's company. I do a closet clean out. We're drinking. You're getting me to wear stupid to come by and hang out with me all day long. It should be a great event, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay.
Okay.
There is a lot of stuff coming up in July, but it's Luda July. You got the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake. You got RoboCop's Rogue City Unfinished Business expansion, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Ludo, Grounded 2, which I'll probably play like once. I doubt I'm going to play it too long, but, just something to check out. So a lot of stuff there, to check out in July, but it's all around the second half. So that gives me opportunity to do some of this other, maybe something else in the mix, Lies of P. That's the end of Lies of P over mods. And I'd be very game. I'd actually like to play to do that because people want. That's another possibility. We could bring back Soulsborne, like maybe Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3 with
Soulsborne. Yeah, you're gonna bring back Bloodborne too, right? No.
Mods. And I'd be very excited to do that because people wanted a modded run of Dark Souls 1 and we did it, but it wasn't really what people were expecting or me. I thought it was going to change the game and all it really did was tweak the game. I'd actually like to play a mod that changes the game entirely, so we'll probably do that maybe over the summer. Okay.
Dude, that Dark Souls 1 mod playthrough, it was so lame. I don't even think he ever did because there was like an enemy randomizer. I don't think he ever used that mod. I don't think he ever used it. And it's like, why hype up the enemy randomizer if you're not gonna use it? Come on now, dog.
Okay. Then we've got Onimusha 2 Remastered, which we're a little over halfway.
Okay, I don't care about
We'll
Onimusha.
see. But I'm excited, one of which is tonight. And of course, right now are Mario that once you start playing things to tour multiplayer and Capcom versus SNK.
I love that we're still playing Mario Kart. I thought the game has no legs and no longevity, and people are bored of it, and people are done with it. Remember that rant? I just love that we're still playing a game that apparently nobody cares about anymore. Correct? Oh man, okay.
K2. So we got a good variety. Pretty much everything worked into the mix. All right. We'll see. Cydia says, why is American Truck Sim not a daytime stream? Because I drink during it. Peace to my family. It's that simple. Because I'm drinking when I'm playing it. I'm not going to start drinking at the beginning of my day when I have all.
He drank it. He did that before though. He actually drank harder liquor during the day. That's what the marathons are.
All this content to do when I have responsibilities to my family. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here getting.
What responsibilities? Take Jasper to school? Are you? Does he have to be picked up that day? Okay, guys, I gotta go pick up Jasper from cat school. I don't know what I would not know what grade Jasper would be in. Okay. I know he's not in college because they need to make money they need to save enough money for the Jasper College Fund. Send my cat to college.
Getting buzzed and then have to go do other stuff. If I'm getting buzzed.
Okay. He doesn't drive anywhere because he tells us he drives on his day off. So what does he do that he needs to be sober to do? Like, dude, you can drink a can of beer and then be like, "Oh, okay, like I gotta pay bills. Pay." Like, come on.
Buzzed during a marathon where the only commitment I have is to stream and be buzzed on stream. That's different than, oh, by the way, I have to get buzzed. I have to go help in the house or cook dinner or clean stuff or spend time with my wife when I'm I'm not gonna do that.
You don't cook. Get out. Like, this is bullshit. He tells us every day. He like even says, actually, Cat tells me to go away. To never enter the kitchen again. He brags about not cooking. He brags about it. And the stuff he does cook is like autopilot cooking. Oh, I'm making turkey burgers. Okay, how do you make them? You put them in like what, the oven? Because he doesn't have a grill, and then call it a day. He boils some dogs, some turkey dogs. He boils ramen noodles. Man, the cooking he does. This is like, guys, I can't get high. I have to make scrambled eggs. I need to be sober to make scrambled eggs, guys. You don't understand.
Do that. All right, I'm not going to be sitting here all day getting drunk all day. Okay.
I thought I was going to focus on the UGC
That's also
stuff,
why we're only doing it like once a week. Now I know that I
about.
also drank during Taxi Life, and that was fun. But I don't want to be drinking on every single. All right. I've found the throne room, and when I'm kind of
I don't care.
Almost there. We're hopefully American Truck Simulator Tuesday. Lives of people to release is if people then they get it rewarded. Like our fighting game week with what they want. And I would do a bonus stream of it on Thursday night. I'm not sure what Taxi Life Wednesday night. And then, of course, as we discussed, Thursday is the release of Death Stranding, and we're going to do that. We'll have a bonus stream of something on Thursday night. I'm not sure what it's going to be.
Oh.
Let's see if people will actually show up. And I have a couple shout-outs to do.
Okay.
And then we're going to jump into our fighting games topic. Myself, sorry for attention. Seriously, like you very well could have been like trolling me in comments. Thing is, don't take offense at that. We did a $5 super chat.
Oh man, Papa Polecat. I'm just. Man, cool.
Because I don't know if you recognize me. I've been hating on you for a while, but I realized my issues with myself. Sorry for being a jerk.
Guy.
I don't even recognize you. The thing is, don't take offense at that.
I mean,
you literally could be one of my biggest haters, and I still wouldn't know because there's so many of them. I just don't pay attention.
Papa Polecat's the biggest
Seriously, like
hater.
you very well could have been like trolling me in comments or whatever. I don't know. So thank you. I get it. People get into stuff and then they change for the better. I'm of the same mentality. When I was younger, I was a big troll in FGC with the biggest mouth.
Yeah, but he actually started fights, though. I don't think I have started a fight. There was like only one time, but it was weird. It was a very weird fight that I got into, but I didn't go to because I was like, why would I? What? Like, it was really weird. I told this story before. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't even know what even started this. Because at most I said something like, "Oh yeah, he didn't do the assignment." I don't know. It was weird. Like the guy didn't even go to school that day. I don't think. I don't know. It was whatever. And then I got an instant messenger. Yes, remember Aiden, guys? I get a random message like, "Yeah, come fight me here. Come to this street corner and fight me there." And I was like, no. And I didn't show up because it's like, I have no beef with this guy. I don't know what happened. Like, hey, I'll apologize if I did something bad, but I'm not going there and get my ass kicked. I like, dude. Like there was nothing. Like, I didn't sit there and like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking fuck this guy up. I never even said anything like that. This dude was just like starting shit with me. I was like, yeah, no, didn't show up, and nothing happened. So I think to this day, I think people were just trying to rile me up. They were trying to get me like paranoid because I had some people that trolled me like, just random bullshit. So it's like, okay, whatever. Like, there was a school bet in like middle school where I was like, oh, I think this team's gonna win the Super Bowl, and and there was a lot of money riding on it. I won the bet, guys. Yeah, I got it correctly. And nobody wanted to pay up. Then this other guy's like, Theo, you know that you're gonna go to jail, right? So I was like, oh, okay, then never mind. I don't care. And then nothing happened. And to this day, I'm like, I think this guy just went to Microsoft Word, typed random bullshit, and then got me to like stop because he wanted to fearmonger me into not getting my money that they owed me because So I was like, okay, whatever, and I let it go because I'm such a nice guy. But that's my story of trolling. But this guy started fights. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna fuck you up." And then he would go there like, I am an alcoholic, and I'm sorry." And then they all like left.
Absolutely, shitting on people up, down, left, and right just because I was miserable with my own life. That was really the reason why. I wasn't happy with myself and how my life was, so I wanted to crap on everybody else.
Again, I'm always every time he says this stuff, I'm tempted to watch him react to the June the King documentary over the fighting game segments because this dude was like, "Yeah, man, when you see the fighting game stuff, you're gonna see I was a terrible person and it's gonna be awful. I have nothing to say." And this dude went out of his way to justify and defend what he did back then. So it really was. I think maybe one time he said like, "Yeah, this is fucked up," but the other times he was like, "Yeah, these people were fucked up, man. I was just in what I did."
And now I'm older and I realize how wrong that was. So thanks for the support, and it's all good. No worries.
It's all good.
And apology accepted.
Dude,
you said sorry, and I accept your apology.
Else.
Thank you for that.
He's like a tomato.
Okay.
But guys,
first tip of the week is a $2 tip.
Size?
Sega has announced the characters SpongeBob. Wait, Sega announced characters from SpongeBob, Avatar, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be coming to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Oh, this game sounds interesting,
man.
You know, someone made a point.
Look at this dude get like he's bouncing for these IPs, man. He loves properties. This dude is such a mark for corporate like bullshit. Like I was reacting to the Summer Game Fest, and a dude in chat, and I agree with him. We both made this good point. Mario Kart did not need to have crossover characters to be a good game. It was just a good game. Look at what Sonic has to do to compete. They gotta get other characters. Now, of course, someone may say, well, Mario Kart 8 had like Link, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon in Mario Kart 8, but these are still Nintendo characters, and that's kind of it. But these were like later additions that were DLC. Link was in vanilla. It was in the Wii U Mario Kart 8, by the way. I think the Switch one added Splatoon, and maybe Animal Crossing, but I think they added Animal Crossing even the Wii U one. They might have added another Animal Crossing for the Switch though, but whatever. Okay, it is what it is.
Point. They were like, this Racing Cross World seems like what they're trying to do is get the pop culture demographic to jump into this game. Why didn't Nintendo do that with Mario Kart?
Because they don't need to do it. It's Mario fucking Kart. Mario Kart is the fucking name brand. Like, Mario Kart's so recognizable, you don't need anything else. Sonic, on the other hand, like, Sonic is Sonic, but I mean, look at Sonic's track record, dude. It's spotty at best, but it's also Sega. It's gonna be in like they can do whatever. But Mario Kart's Mario Kart. Like they were there at the ground level.
Like Nintendo totally did it with Smash Brothers, right?
But Smash Brothers is also like Nintendo. Well, it started off with Nintendo characters, then it ended. It included Snake, and then it went from there. But I mean, whatever.
Brought in characters like Snake, and
But like Smash Brothers also is not like iconic with Mario. Mario Kart's Mario Kart, not Super Mario Fighter. It's Super Smash Brothers. Come on.
Characters from other franchises, Bayonetta, Jokers, and why didn't they do anything like that with Mario Kart? Why are they sticking to just Nintendo property characters? Because again, I hate to say it, but Mario Kart is pretty dead. Most people who bought
Mario Kart's pretty dead. Bobblehead. Yeah, Mario Kart's dead. That's why he's playing it every week. It's a dead game. That's why there's like, what, 5,000 people playing Knockout Tour and 4,000 people playing Grand Prix Online because it's dead? Yeah, man. Sure.
who bought a Switch 2 now, it's like 2 weeks in, are like, what did I do this for? There's nothing to play on this console. They realize it. That now the third-party games are getting played because Mario Kart, everyone's done with it. So they're starting to play. Did you see Hitman on the Switch 2?
Hitman on the Switch 2. Okay. Let's see. Hitman on the Switch 2. Let's see. Well, Gaming Bolt seems to be happy with it. It says, despite some shortcomings, Agent 47 on the go is a win. Yes. Okay, technical review. Let's see.
It was a mere 25 years ago when IO Interactive, published by Eidos Interactive, released Hitman Codename 47 on the PC. I absolutely loved that game. I couldn't believe the ragdoll physics, and I spent to learn the environment, the hazards that are available to take on the to experience our lush weather, but there's just something very cool about it. Performance here is definitely better than the most modern stages where I used frame rate analysis. And by the way, this is the brand new Le Chiffre stage that IO Interactive announced just yesterday at Summer Games Fest. And it is awesome. The Hitman series is renowned for its large, open-world sandbox environments, and while it's not action-based most of the time, performance is still important. I don't have a particular issue with the game running at 30 or at 60 or at 40. I think leaving it uncapped is potentially a mistake, or what they could do, which many others have done, is just introduce some graphical options. Have a performance mode that's locked to 40 with slightly lower effects, or a quality mode at 30, and so on and so forth. Give people the options. Sadly, IO have done none of that. In fact, there are
So this isn't really like blaming the console because they didn't lock the frame rate. So yeah, look how bad it is. This guy, he was like crying about it, right? Yeah, look at Hitman 2 on the Switch 2. Yeah, I looked at it, buddy, and it looks fine.
Wow, it runs like dog shit.
Dog shit. 30 to like what? 40 to 60 frames is dog shit to this guy. Okay, dude.
And this is the brand new Nintendo console, and these third-party companies ported all their games, and their games run like shit on it.
Cyberpunk runs at a stable 40, and there are people, and even the developers said that the Switch 2 version of Cyberpunk is the definitive way to play Cyberpunk on the go. Like they said, it's better than the Steam Deck option. So, what about that, Phil?
So there's nothing to play on this console right now. And the things that
nothing to play. I mean, I played Yakuza 0, and that's fine. That's playable. It's a solid game. Then there's but again, you could play fucking Switch 1 games. Like this dude acts as if like you buy a Switch 2 and like you can't play Switch 1 games, or that's, I mean, I get the argument, like why would you buy a Switch 2 if you're gonna play Switch 1 games, but at the same time, like, you're buying a Switch 2 so you can have it for the future. Like, why buy anything day one with that logic? Why buy a PS5 day one if you're gonna play PS4 games? Why buy the PlayStation 6 if you're gonna play PS5 games?
Things that are on it are awful. So, yeah, it's interesting and it's very bizarre that they haven't brought in collaborative characters to Mario Kart, right? Why? Why does Mario Kart not have?
But why would it need it? Like, honestly, how many people are playing Mario Kart for the characters? I mean, I get it for the most part, but the character roster is good in Mario Kart World. I hate to say it for people like Phil, but it's a good character list. I mean, I was kind of split or kind of whatever on like costumes being character slots. Like, on one hand, it's like what, like that's just to make it seem like a bigger character list than it really is. But I do kind of like the costumes, though. I like the only thing I was surprised with is Pauline only has 2 costumes. Why? Peach and Daisy and Rosaline have like what, 5, and Pauline 2. Why? Why does she not get any of the same costume attention as the other characters? And Pauline is like a character in fucking Donkey Kong. Come on now, dog.
Other properties and franchises like Smash Brothers did. It worked for Smash. Why did they kind of drop the ball? Because now Sega has taken the reins. Sega is doing that.
But Mario Kart and Smash Brothers are developed by 2 different people, though. It's not the same team. Oh, okay.
Right? Anyway.
But if Side was so good, why do they need it to?
So now we have a super chat, and we have a.
But all he's hyped about is properties, dude. He loves when he gets the points. I know that reference. I know that character. You see his like, but look how he reacted to it. Hatsune Miku. Oh no! Even though I don't know why that got an oh. Hatsune Miku is a fucking idol. Okay. Then Ichiban, yay! I know him. He's from Like a Dragon. Oh, Joker from Persona 5. But since he can't do that in Mario Kart because everyone knows Mario Kart, that's dumb. It really needs that property pop culture thing. Everything needs to be able to be a trending topic on Twitter, obviously.
A couple super chats and a tip. Can we get our first membership of the week? And how?
Okay.
On Kick, the top, right? Anything over on is now time for us to super chat. Cleaning out your closet is good. What about old paperwork? What about it?
It says, what about old paperwork? Yeah, okay, he's not saying what about it. He's saying, what about old paperwork for your next marathon? Like, you do paperwork for
cleaning out my closet while we're out at it and said this is going to be the most boring event, but it's also like a summer cookout without it.
Okay. I don't care about him, like, hoping about a fucking clean-out stream. Like, dude.
Sorry, folks.
He mocked people for doing boring streams. And the stream, like, oh, these people are like, okay, this streamer streams in the hot tub. Why is that entertaining? It's sexual content. But what if she just, like, it's a hot summer day and she just wants to chill in the hot tub and wants to give you summer vibes? Come on. They can use the same logic as DSP is.
So I'm getting old.
Okay.
X $5 from Hard Weekly. That's 11, and I mean the 2. Anyway, all right.
What do you shake his head to? Huh?
Anyway.
Oh my god! Okay, I got a bitch about this. I hate when he does shit like this, where he's just reading chat, not reading to us what he's looking at, and says, huh? And that's it, and moves on. What was that about? What was he reading? Like, what was so confusing that it gave him a concerned, huh? Oh, okay.
Folks, I got a topic to talk about today. It's something that we dabble in from time to time. But it's not something we talk about all the time. But it's pertinent today because right now the fighting game community, or FGC for short, are kind of going to war.
Oh my god, dude.
From time to time. But it's not something we talk about all the time. But it's pertinent today because right now the fighting game community, or FGC for short.
The fighting game community, FGC for short. Wow, DSP, I did not know what FGC meant. Can you tell me what a fighting game is?
Are kind of going to war a little bit. What do I...
Again, the video that he's gonna watch, there's no war. It's really just discussing, yeah, there's just a lot of people playing fighting games and they're not, like, good. Like, they think that they're, like, good at the game and proficient, but they're not. Okay. Like, that's all it is. There's no war. Nobody's saying, like, oh, this guy said this, what a bitch, or whatever, right?
What do I mean by that? Well,
yeah, what do you mean by going to war?
Amongst the competitive fighting game community about old versus new. And the debate is really sparking now because...
I just love that we've had this debate from DSP like a million times. Old versus new. The new FTC doesn't want to respect the old guard. He can write about that every time, dude. There's like a Hate Army clip of it where like a dude like scrub quotes, not scrub quotes, Guile Win quotes was like, "Oh yeah, Phil, I got a super turbo cabinet. Come fight me," or whatever. And he's like, "This guy doesn't understand that, like, I am an FTC guy, and he doesn't respect me because he's part of the new guard, and these mean not to care." And this and that, like, pretty much bitching and moaning about new fighting game communities not sucking his dick. But why should they? Like, fuck off. You don't get respect by demanding it, bitch. You get it by actually earning it. And what does he have to earn? What respect do people have for him? Oh, he won 4th place at EVO. That's it. These other accomplishments he brags about is fucking taking placements from other people. And then wonders why nobody likes him. Man, maybe it's because you fucking gatekeep fucking super turbo, dude.
There's a few fighting games that are currently in development. There's the one that's the League of Legends ones. What is it? 2XKO or something. The worst name ever. Really bad idea. Probably going to flop anyway. And then there's this other game coming out, the Invincible fighting game. Okay? It's been revealed that both of these fighting games will not have motion inputs for special moves.
Well, again, this has nothing to do with the fucking video. Oh man, dude, like why bring up random arguments that have nothing to do with the main argument? Like, dude, come on.
Well, what do I mean by that? I mean, normally when you do a special move in a fighting game, it's like, oh, down, forward, quarter circle plus punch.
By the way, just remember, he described this early on, and just compare how long it took for him to say it when it wasn't a main topic versus when it's the main topic. He summarized it like a normal person, but then when he gets into it, he's like, okay, so what do I mean by movement? Well, you see, there's a controller. Now, we built this controller back in the Atari days, or even further back with arcades. Then, that's basically what he's, like, going through to explain this.
Or it's charge back, then forward plus a button. No, this game is literally just going to be tap a button, special move. Or hold forward, tap a button, different special move. Up forward and a button, anti-air special move.
Okay.
So no execution is actually required to play the game. None. You won't have to practice motions or inputs or anything like that. Everything will be instantly accessible to everyone who plays the game when they're released.
Okay.
And so a debate began about, is this good or bad?
Again, literally the stuff that Bunchek brings up, it's not even about that. They don't even talk about these games. Like, this dude is seeing discourse on Twitter, because people on Twitter clearly are talking about this. And then he's conflating it with this, like, just as an excuse to talk about it. But he doesn't give a point. He doesn't even explain what his point is. Like, DSP, like, got confused. He got confused. That's what happened.
Bad for fighting games. Because the whole point of showing that you're good or competitive at a fighting game has to do with not only just knowledge of how the game mechanics work, but also physical skill, timing, practicing, etc. So, to give you an example here, and I've heard this kind of tossed around, imagine if right now, Major League Baseball.
Dude, you don't even need to give this example. You explained it. You explained this, and oh my god, dude.
Instead of using...
Imagine this dude did video essays. Imagine if Modern Phil did video essays. Dude, those videos would be like 10 hours long, and all the 10 hours would just be set up for the main point, and then it would end.
Metal or wooden bats, the standard baseball, the full-size diamond and all of that, just decided they were going to downgrade and now play on Little League fields. Out of nowhere.
Oh my god!
We're gonna play,
look at this.
Decided they were going to downgrade and now play on Little League fields.
He is so proud. He's so proud of that. He's so proud of that little example. He's like, look at what I did, mommy. I came up with an example. This is literally like, oh my god, it was some Nintendo E3. I think it was like for Brawl, but they said something about it, and then there's a silence because they expected the crowd to like applaud. It was a very scripted thing, and nobody applauded, and it was kind of embarrassing. That's what this is. This dude schedules applauses for his fucking segments, but you're streaming it, dude. You're not in front of an audience.
Out of nowhere. We're just going to play in very smaller fields now. And you know what? Instead of playing with those hard metal or wood bats and those standard we're going to now play with wiffle ball equipment. You know, so it's accessible to everyone. Because even a small child can stand on a little league field, which is tiny.
But this is like not comparable, like at all. Because baseball is a sport, like MLB has adults play the game. Like there's no way a child could be in the MLB. Like there's no way unless you're making a movie that's not based in reality. So obviously there's different requirements because there's factual differences. Video games, on the other hand, like you don't need to have any physical requirement to play them. Like it's a different argument because one is a product that's made for money, like especially now with how video games are made and how they cost to be made and all this other stuff. MLB is a different, like these are two different things. Like I get what he's saying, but these are two different approaches. And again, like you know, the way that Capcom balances modern with classic is just enough that they're both equivalent. Like you can't do everything on modern, but there's also things that like, you know, whatever. They all have their pros and cons. Come on.
And have a wiffle ball bat and crack that ball and get a home run. So since everyone can do it, it'll make it accessible to everyone. But it won't matter because you're only going to be doing well if you're still a pro player and if you have skill. Wait, what? So you see, when you put it in that perspective,
yeah, but
it seems a little different, but it's the same thing.
No.
Really, fighting games or any competitive...
Like, one is an athletic sport. Video games are not athletic. Like, they're an esport. Like, there is a competitive side to fighting games. But it's a little bit more abstract. I mean, this sounds very douchey, but abstract in that kind of sense.
Competitive game, okay? Have two levels of challenge. The actual physical execution and the mental game. If you take out any physical challenge of actually playing a fighting game, meaning I need an actual timed input that I need to practice physically and commit to muscle memory to be able to do it.
This is just like, again, the only reason why he's bringing this up to a video that doesn't even talk about this, by the way, is because he loves to bitch about this. Every time he has the opportunity. But when Street Fighter 6 is a new game, he was like, oh wow, modern mode! Wow, this is cool! But now that we're like years removed from that, well, it actually sucks, guys. Like, okay, man.
Do it. If you remove that from the factor of the competitive play, now it just becomes a mental game. But is it the same? So this has been a big debate in the FGC recently, and you're arguing back and forth various different opinions on this. But now, this has actually become a different discussion entirely.
Oh.
As now, it's become, are modern fighting games just in general, even when it comes to the mental game, just too easy? Why is it that a lot of players from back in the day
I think
don't really want to play modern fighting games anymore? They've all fallen off. Why does it seem
they all fall
like
off.
now
They
there's
all
an
crashed
entirely
out.
new generation of players that have stepped up and are competitively good at fighting games? But what happened to the old guard, right?
Wait, what?
Like now there's an entirely new generation of players that have stepped up and are competitively good at fighting games. But what happened to the old guard?
Oh my god. I don't know, DSP. Why aren't you going to tournaments? He thinks he's like the only one on the planet that retired, so he could brag about this dude. I retired from the FGC and this and that, but then when he plays Street Fighter, like, this dude is so corny. He's so corny. Go back to when Street Fighter 6 was a new game. This dude kept talking as if he was like a wrestler coming out of retirement. Or like a fighter coming in to one more fight, or whatever the fuck. He loves that narrative. But dude, everyone is different. There are still some old heads that still play fighting games. Like, there are people that are still talking about people who this one, like, this is a podcast I was listening to like a few months ago, maybe last year, whatever. And they were talking about this person who played ABBA in Accent Core. Like, that's all he played. He played ABBA in that game. He played that game a lot because he was an ABBA main. They had ABBA to Strive, and then this person left that game to play on Strive, and then like there you go, and you played that a lot. And a lot of these people just don't play in tournaments because they don't want to do tournaments. They still play them online. Like, this is kind of like if he wants about respect and disrespect all he wants, this is kind of disrespectful to act as if they don't exist because they don't go to tournaments or whatever. Dude, they do other stuff. Like, they go, what does Justin want? Does he place in tournaments? Maximilian? They don't have to. They can still be part of the FGC and they do other stuff. Like, this is kind of like bullshit. Because there's other people that participate in the FGC in different ways. There's an artist I follow that got into Guilty Gear Xrd. She tried to do multiple tournaments, but now she focuses on doing tournament organizing and other stuff. Like, there's other things that these people do, and they're still participating in the FGC. Like, do they have to go to every tournament to please Phil and being into existing? Like, fuck off.
Right?
Right?
And so there's all these different opinions. You got a lot of old school players who've been saying modern fighting games, sadly, are just not very good. Modern fighting games are based on getting one hit, playing with a pattern, guessing game kind of stuff, 50-50s. This is not what fighting games were meant to be.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad for these people who like don't like the new fighting games for any reason, and they have DSP summarizing their reason when, like, I would take those people's opinions over his any day, because this dude is sitting there saying, is pattern 50-50, and then you watch the pattern and it's like, oh, they're doing an anti-air because DSP jumped. Like, it's not compelling coming from him when, like, he does a pattern that eventually they download and they, like, use against him. He does combos that he does in Super Turbo. Like, he plays all these games like they're the older game. Oh, man.
They're not good. Modern gamers or newcomers who've only really been playing competitive fighting games in the last 1 to 2 gens are like, those are just boomers. Those are just old school people who are disgruntled.
Well, yeah, because, okay. Let's say you start playing Strive. Strive is your first Guilty Gear game you got into, and you love the game, and you're enjoying it. I would kind of think it would be kind of annoying if you start hearing from multiple people over and over, wow, this game sucks. Wow, this game is stupid. Wow, I can't believe people like this game. This game is dumb. They ruined this character. Oh my god. And it's like, okay, yeah, go play fucking Xrd then. I don't know. Like, there is a degree of annoyance with that. Like, people can like dislike new games all they want, but when they make it their personality to hate a game and they make it everyone's problem, like, that's kind of when people are like, okay, these people are fucking boomers and they're has-beens. Like, when DSP keeps complaining that a game is like Super Turbo, that's kind of the reaction. Because there's other old Street Fighter games that some are better than the others. Super Turbo is not a fucking good game. I don't like that game. I would hate it if Street Fighter goes back to that. I would much rather have Street Fighter play more like Alpha 3 or fucking Third Strike before we go back to fucking Super Turbo. Like, whatever. That's what I kind of like about 6. 6 kind of feels like Third Strike a little bit. Like, that's what makes it a better game. But this dude is sitting there like, oh, it's like patterns and this and that. Like, okay, dude.
Gruntled, they can't hang anymore. They're not good enough. Fighting games in the last 1 to 2 gens are like, those are just boomers. Those are just old school people who are disgruntled. They can't hang anymore.
First off, the old heads do not complain about not being able to hang. Nobody's complaining about that. Secondly, the people who are newcomers are not saying that these people are mad because they can't hang. They're saying that they're mad because they can't that games are not like this gatekeepy game, or that these old heads want to gatekeep games. And like it there's a degree of a strawman argument with that. But on the other hand, there are people who just strictly want to gatekeep games, and it can be bad. Like, again, gatekeeping is like, it's a dual-edged sword. Like, DSP is the definition of why people want to gatekeep. But on the other hand, like, gatekeeping can also be bad, and it can also lead to, like, negative situations that can harm a game or someone's enjoyment. Like, like, that's kind of where it lands. And again, it depends on how the people, like, form their argument or how they carry themselves in a conversation. Like, it's a case-by-case basis that you're just gonna have to pick up on your own personal vibes, I guess.
They're not good enough to play at a competitive level with modern fighting games, and therefore, they can't keep up, and they're angry. This is their, sour grapes that they can't hang anymore. That's why they talk shit about modern fighting games. So there's this interesting debate going on, and I'd like to show you, there's actually a really good video from the YouTube channel Button Check. Now, Button Check is someone who I've watched his content before on this very show. He's actually responded to things that I've said on this show before, and he did a good video about it. But it's kind of funny because the discussion is good, but the person involved in the discussion is kind of silly. But I'll show you what I mean. All right, but before we do that, we got a couple more shout-outs to do. Hard Weekly, thanks for another... The discussion on this very show,
God, listen to
he's
this.
Actually responded to things that I've said on this show before.
Look how much respect he gives the Button Check versus the people that Button Check is responding to. Again, I watched the video. Button Check does not chill on anyone in the video. He literally is like, yeah, this person says this person says that. I can see where they're coming from or whatever. Like, I think all Button Check really does in his videos for the most part is he kind of just gives neutral takes. Like, he kind of tries to explain both sides of the argument. Like, he's kind of like more of like a mediator, I guess. But it's also like, but he leads more into the conversation as to like how people feel about things or whatever. Like that.
Before, and he did a good video about it. But it's kind of funny because the discussion is good, but the person involved in the discussion is kind of silly. But
how is this person?
I'll show you what I mean. All right, but before we do that, we got a couple more shout-outs to do.
Like I think he's talking about Metroid Flash, and the dude is not really being
I don't know what you're talking about
decluttering
like, my desk, but thanks for the money.
Okay, we'll see.
And I got a $1.11 tip from the guy who likes to talk about diarrhea, but he says, for the next reward, play Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Well, when you say the next reward, I assume you mean like the next marathon. Well,
no, he's talking about the next reward you give Jasper.
What the next event
what do you
will
think
be.
he means?
This
the next reward.
July 4th
mean?
event. That's going to be the Indivestment Day or Indivestance Day.
Oh my God! Enough. Fucking shut up.
Here we go again. Indeed. Let me see if this is going to look good or not. Hold on one second.
Here we go again.
I'm tiny. See, let me blow myself up a little bit. I'm like really small.
Cool.
Okay. All right, so the debate right now, as you can see, FGC boomers are miserable because players are better now. The FGC debates. Let's see what's going on over in the FGC. Every once in a while, I like to poke my head over there and see what's happening.
I love that we're only poking our head in when it's drama like this. Not when it's anything interesting like, oh, what's the FGC happy about? What are they hyped for? Oh, what do they think about Elena? We're not going to talk about the FGC about that. Only when it's either confirming DSP's preconceived notion on bullshit, or if it's like shitting on newcomers, or whatever the fuck you want to use this discourse for.
Happening. As you know, I'm a very unique position because even though I'm well-versed in fighting games and I have a wealth of knowledge about them, I'm not part of the FGC.
You know what I'm saying?
I stopped caring about competing and traveling and that grind life. I just don't care. I'm much more happy as a variety content creator on YouTube. And it's funny because the FGC hates me, even though I've literally never done a damn thing to them.
But you keep talking about them, and then you shit on them. Like, he said that the FGC is stupid. They're sharing meta. What a bunch of idiots. and this and that. Like, you're super negative. Like, even in this video, he was leading into this, he was shitting on them. Come on.
They actually, did you know?
And then he also thinks, like, the other thing is, he's also said in this video that back then I was a troll, man. I was shitty to everyone in the FGC. And he thinks, well, now that I'm a good person, why do they hate me? You don't think that that reputation sticks with you? You were known back then as a shitty person. You don't think that reputation is gonna carry over? Because again, mind you, he did not apologize to anyone. Anyone. He claimed after the Sutter and Craig interview, he apologized to to people or to one dude, but he doesn't know if he listened to him. Like, dude, I'm sorry that nobody cares about your redemption arc, but you can't assume people are gonna pick up on your redemption arc because you said you're going through a redemption arc.
That the common person in the FGC actually believes that I am permanently banned from tournament play and cannot attend a tournament.
Who thinks this? There was like only one time, and it wasn't even that damning because the person like realized that he confused you with someone else, and people moved on. Nobody said DSP was banned, at least from what I understand.
The tournament. Were you aware of this? Where did they get that idea? I have no clue. I've never been banned from a single tournament in my life. I could go wherever I want right now. It's just about a decade ago, if you remember, I'd say it was around 2012, 2013. I decided I just didn't want to do it anymore. That I didn't find it rewarding. I didn't think it was going to make sense. I was becoming a variety creator on YouTube and I was enjoying what I was doing and I wanted to put all my time and effort into that. But the FGC actually says shit like that. Like, yeah, Phil's just permanently banned because no one likes him. And like, actually, that's not true at all. You're just an idiot. You made—
Dude, nobody, like, he's banned because nobody likes him. I've never heard anyone say that they were banned because they don't like me. Yeah, they don't like me, so they banned me. Unless that person is like a shitty person that you don't want to admit that they may be the problem.
You made it up because you're a dunce. And you like to believe these toxic memes and shit. Like, what are you talking about? Where'd that even come from? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so again, we're not naming like any individual that believes this, and we're saying that the whole community believes this. He's assuming the entire FGC believes he's banned and calls them a dunce. But why do they hate me? I don't know, DSP. You're playing a game of telephone right now.
Anyway. Let's hear a little bit of this topic, and let's see what I can do to chime in. Here we go.
Again, we got a hot one.
That is really low volume, isn't it? Hold on. Let me see here. I just want to make sure we can hear it.
Okay, so
Okay.
Somebody by the name of King Scrub, gotta love that name, right? Posted this, I believe just yesterday, saying, I pray I never see myself become one of these miserable FGC boomers. They constantly bring up the past games and try to downplay the achievement of the next generation. The older games were harder mechanically, but the competition now is much deeper. Players are just better now. Well,
all right.
Generation.
All right, get a load of this. Get a load of this. All this stuff that King Scrub is complaining about perfectly describes DSP. Because DSP literally, like, every fighting game, he has complained about how games have gone easier. Oh, this game is so easy. Not back in the day. If these people played like this in Super Turbo, they'd get their ass beat. Or whatever the fuck. He'd say this all the time. And then, like, when anyone would tell him, Phil, you fought against an FGC guy. He's a really good Street Fighter 6 player. Yeah, well, tell him he has to get thick skin. He's a little bitch. Or whatever the fuck. He would shit on them all the time. And it's like, what? Come on, dude. Like, he shits on all these people's accomplishments all the time. And then demands that they all respect his bum ass.
The older games were harder mechanically, but the competition now is much deeper. Players are just better.
I don't know what Kingston would mean by the competition is deeper. I would say there's more people competing, so there's definitely more, like, varied levels of competitors out there in the wild, as they say.
Better now. Well,
first off, I'm not gonna downplay anything that a modern FGC player does.
No, you did. You have, Phil. You fucking have. You said that these people don't understand fighting games. They don't respect what came before and this and that. Like, I don't really need to go through like a fucking clip parade of showing people the stuff he has said. Like, he said stuff at least akin to this. Like, maybe the most he'll say is like, oh, like he won't downplay like a #1 champ. Like, he hasn't shat on Sonic Fox at all when he won Evo for whatever fighting game that he won that DSP wanted to praise him for. I think it was Dragon Ball FighterZ. He's like, oh yeah, Sonic Fox, congratulations on winning, man. But it was clearly he was just trying to ride an algorithm wave or whatever the fuck. But it's all he does is sit there and like not really care. Go back to the podcast where he talks about like the people who won Evo on Street Fighter 6. He kind of like used it to prove a point that, see how broken the game is? Look who's in the top one, Cammy or whatever the fuck. Like, he just fucking shits on that. Okay.
I don't think I've ever said something like, oh, that guy Punk the God sucks ass and he could never play an old game, or what's that guy Mena RD, the best Blanca player? Oh, screw him. He's a scrub. I wouldn't say stuff like that, okay? But admittedly, I will say...
Yeah, but those people have, like, clout, so he's not gonna say anything negative about that. Maybe he did at one point. I think he did say some shit about Punk the God, I want to say. But, that aside, if it's, like, an up-and-comer or a dude that people at least know are in the FGC and this and that he doesn't know, he will always go off and say, this guy sucks ass. Like, there was a dude, he played in CVS 2, and a dude said, well, he played MVC2 IRL and he was pretty good. Well, tell him he sucks ass! Okay, dude.
Having played the old school fighters at a competitive level and being successful at them back then, and playing modern fighters today, abso-freaking-lutely. Oh, it was too low? People are saying it was way too low? Seriously? All right, I'm going to bump the volume all the way up then. It looked like it was fine for me. Axo-freaking-lutely. Modern games are easy mode to play. You can easily jump into a modern game and lab for a little bit and immediately learn the meta of the game because people posted it all over the internet. With zero effort, you can know the top tier strategies within a few days of the game being out. And there you are.
This means garbage from Mr. Can you guys tell me how to play CVS 2? What's the Oh, this guy says I need to do this. Okay, I'm going to try that. And then he does it in a match. Like, I'm sorry, Phil. You can't really complain that people are watching vids to learn combos when you literally ask your chat how to do combos in an old ass game. What's he gonna say? Well, the meta's already been established, guys. CVS 2 is an old game. Okay. Fucking cry about it, bitch.
Are you ready to go? Now, I'm not saying you're gonna be a Punk the God or a Mena. You're not. But you could still play them at a competitive level. Back in the day, it was very different.
But if you're not gonna be at that level by watching those videos, then wouldn't keep playing get you better? Like, I don't know. Whatever. Okay.
Literally had to grind and grind and grind in arcades and tournaments. You had to travel the world. There was no online play.
This is also kind of sheltered. He doesn't know the scope of how other people lab or how long these other people lab. He's assuming these people like lab for an hour, then they go online. They lab for 5 minutes and then they go online. Like, he doesn't know. Maybe they don't lab at all. Maybe they do lab. Maybe they lab for a month. He doesn't know. He doesn't know shit.
There was no tech posted up all over the internet. None of this was accessible. It was all about your time, dedication, hard work, money investment, and all of that to even learn the meta of a fighting game.
Yeah, there's no money investment. Nobody's buying fighting games, buying DLC, paying for an online subscription, or just access to the internet via their cable provider. Nobody's giving money for those things, or buying money for tech, like a hitbox, fight stick, what have you. Yeah, no money given. They all get it for free. Like, there's a clip in Truck Sim where he was saying that, oh, these people, they all didn't have a job and this, that, but how does he know that? He's basing this off of because they were at terms every weekend or whatever the fuck, but does he know that maybe there are locals there? Maybe they're sharing rooms? Maybe they're splitting money? Maybe they're staying at a friend's house? Like, he doesn't know their situation at all and assumes that these people are either loaded or whatever the fuck. How would he know that? He's basing off of the fact that, well, I had to pay for it, and this and that, and it was a treat for us to do tournaments, but these guys are there every week, so they must be there because they have rich family. How would he know that? Okay.
Today, everyone knows the meta within a week. Everyone. All you got to do is open YouTube and you learn the meta. Okay? So there is a difference between saying the modern players, are as good or better or worse, but the difference is they execute.
But this is actually like downplaying because he's literally saying that they open YouTube and they learn. I mean, they had to choose a character that they like to begin with, or they just choose a character or whatever the fuck. They could act like learning through YouTube, like that is still learning and taking an active interest in something. Like this is kind of bullshit. This is like if someone learns how to do art by watching YouTube videos and they learn that way, and then like someone says, "Oh, wow, you learned by YouTube videos. That's not like skilled. You're not an artist." It's like, no, you are. Like, it's not the same as like using AI where you're just telling AI, do this, bam, and then it just farts out some abomination. Like, someone has to watch, like, what does color theory mean? How do you do line weight, perspective, like all these things that people could just watch a video on, learn it, then do some studies, and then like hone their knowledge on that kind of stuff. Like for fighting games, you're watching a video about a combo, you're then practicing the combo, but then you could like say, well, does this combo link to something else or whatever? Like this is still active learning.
Execution. Like right now, if you were to ask me if a top modern player could do the one frame links and crazy execution needed to play fighting games from back in the day, the answer is probably no.
Does DSP know
but
to
does
do
that mean that they're bad at fighting games? No. They're good at the modern fighting games, which is more of a mind game kind of a deal than it is execution. So there is a difference there.
But a mind
now,
game
would you say, well, do they suck?
Skill.
Are they scrubs? I mean, no. They've learned.
You have to like persevere under pressure a lot of the times. Like there's a mental stack in fighting games. Like you can learn all the YouTube videos you want. If you're gonna crumble under a mental stack, you're not gonna last long. Come on now, dog.
Learned the meta of what the modern game is. Okay, I would argue in that statement the reason that the fighting game boomers are always criticizing modern fighting games is not because they're too easy to play and any scrub can jump in. The problem is they're not fun. Okay?
But like, see, this is the other like disingenuous aspect of it, because it's very clear that Scrub the God or Scrub the King Scrub or whatever the fuck is literally talking about people who are actively like being miserable about new fighting games and be like, oh, anyone could just pick up a fighting game these days or whatever the fuck, being miserable, right? Like that's who he's talking about. Not the people who are like who just prefer the older games. But whatever. The aspect of fun is different for everyone. Like maybe easy to play is not fun. Maybe it being easy to play is not like there is a level of biking and Strive that's kind of boring. I kind of like playing biking a little bit more. I'm kind of getting back into her, but but if you play Exart biking, it's like you have a lot of stuff at your disposal that's kind of fun to play with. But it's all different. It's all different, dude.
Okay? They're just not fun to play. If you played fighting games back in the day, and you had to grind to learn tech, you had to have, practice over and over ad nauseum to learn these tough, difficult frame links and inputs and special moves, that was a level of experience that you felt accomplished. Man, I played the shit out of that game.
But see, he's arguing that he doesn't feel accomplished with these new games, which, guess what? It's not just, oh, I only care if the game is fun. the people are saying that it's too easy to play, and this and that kind of play into the whole narrative here, or the thought, or the argument that there's no accomplishment. You don't feel accomplished by learning a character like in a modern fighting game, which again is a very situational thing. Someone can feel accomplished with it, but saying that, well, they don't feel accomplished, okay, that's their problem. Like, but what if I feel accomplished with what I learned in Strive or Street Fighter 6?
That game, but now I can play at a top level, and no one else can just jump on this cabinet and play it like I can because they haven't put in the time investment and the money or whatever it is. Today, literally anyone could buy Street Fighter 6, lab for 12 hours by watching YouTube videos, and have the same execution as
12
you.
hours.
That's frustrating, isn't it? Huh?
If that's the case, then how come there's all these videos of DSP saying, I didn't do that! I wanted this! I couldn't get this! If the inputs are so easy, wouldn't he be able to get any special move he wanted to get? If it was just so easy? Like, execution is still a thing, and it's still a problem a lot of the times.
I can understand why someone in the FGC who was back in the day playing these games competitively and now they're playing the modern ones, like, what is this easy mode shit? You know? I get that. But the thing is the difference of enjoyment.
But I just love also that he's already just white knighting and defending the boomer FGCs in the argument than what the new people are saying. He's already dismissing what the dude said. The dude is saying that, like, the dude said literally, like, you know, there's more competition. They're writing off other people's accomplishments, which is negative. Like, it's kind of like disrespectful to people who are playing now and are enjoying the game and that are getting accomplishments, and to erase their accomplishments is bullshit, or, you know, whatever. Which would be a thing DSP would argue about, because he has argued that. Oh, they're trying to erase my accomplishments. It's stupid. But then when these people are saying, well, these old heads are erasing our accomplishments, well, listen up, guys. Okay, let's hear the old people out.
Someone who never had that enjoyment experience of sitting there at a cabinet, playing, practicing, and mastering the hard stuff to do, and then executing it and getting that feeling of, wow, validation, and it's worth it. It's kind of like today when you played a Soulsborne game, right? Why is it that people like them so much? Well, you get your ass handed to you a million times, but then when you finally beat that difficult boss or get past that crazy part of a dungeon you couldn't beat, you feel this feeling of self-worth and accomplishment.
I love he says this, but he would always argue, it's okay for there to be an easy mode, and this and that. But I you know, whatever. I think, like, if you're gonna have, like, an easy way to play a fighting game, for example, at least have it be an option. Like, I do think that modern and classic options are fine. I don't have an issue with. I think that's, like, a fine concession. It's like, okay, you know, like, you have two ways of playing. Like, that's fine. I don't want to be forced to play a game like Blaze Blue Cross Tag, where you're forced to play a neutered version of a game that was good, that was once good. Like, it's garbage. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle is the worst game ever made. I hate that game. I don't want this game to ever be mentioned ever again in life. I don't want there to be a sequel. This game can die. Fuck Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. I'm still mad. Like, they ruined Nine the Phantom. I can rant about how they ruined that character for me, but whatever.
Because you beat a tough challenge. Today, there is no tough challenge to overcome playing a modern fighting game.
But there is.
So something is lost. And that's why I think a lot of the people from back in the day.
Like, dude, like, I feel more accomplished now when I play because I've gotten better at fighting, like Happy Chaos and Axel. These are characters I would actively avoid because I would not want to deal with them. And I have a better chance dealing with them now. Now, like, Testament's kind of being a problem, but whatever. It's just matchup knowledge.
Playing the older games are saying there's no feeling of fun or satisfaction playing a modern fighting game anymore. You took that away from us when you dumbed it down for the masses.
But what about the people
I think that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah, but, like, no, they're saying that. I mean, they could feel that. Like, there's nothing wrong with feeling that you think that these newer games are easy and you're not getting a sense of accomplishment. That's just a you thing. But to then say that these people who are playing these games that feel accomplished and saying that what they experience doesn't matter, it's kind of like bullshit. Because at the same time, as much as you're bitching about, you're erasing other people's accomplishments through that. Like, He's not understanding that this is the problem here. This is the argument that the old heads are not really acknowledging these newcomers because the games are not as good as to their own standards, but these people are good in their own right. Like, do you see like up and coming baseball players, or old baseball players shitting on the new baseball players? All these people who are just starting to play baseball, they're a bunch of idiots. They don't understand how hard it is back in my day when I was starting to play baseball and we had to deal with all this kind of bullshit. They don't understand it. Like, no. Like, it's like they can say that, oh, back then it was hard to play baseball. Now it's a little bit different because now there's all these things that are helping people to get into baseball and to get them to train. There's like, whatever, because there's a path to become an MLB player. It's not like how it was back then when these old people were playing baseball. But they're not erasing these newcomers of their accomplishments. They're not saying, well, these people did not do what I had to do to become a baseball player. They didn't have to suck dick like I did.
The more modern generation seems to think that the old generation doesn't like modern fighters because, oh, everyone can just play it at a high level. No, it's because you took out the challenge factor of the grind, of the frame links, the timing. That level of execution is gone. And that was what was fun. Seriously, back in the day, when you watched a tournament and you saw someone pulling off something completely unique and challenging and different.
He's just forcing this argument to be his argument. Like, that's not what he's arguing. He's saying that these old boomers are being miserable because they don't think that the newcomers are good because they don't have the execution, this and that. But it's like, well, these people are playing the games now, and whatever.
You were blown away, and you could watch a match and be like, "Oh, I know that's Sanford Kelly playing because I know that's how he plays because he does."
Oh
unique stuff.
God, dude! He talked about this in a previous button checked video. Yeah, man, see this? Okay, fucking cry about it. That's not even relevant.
That only he can do because of his level of expertise. Right? Today you watch a Street Fighter 6 tournament and you see someone playing Cammy or Bison and you have absolutely no idea who's playing until you look at the names on the screen to tell you because everyone plays exactly the same because the game's too easy to learn and the meta is the same for everybody. When you take that level of challenge out, the physical challenge and the timing and all that out, now everyone becomes samey. The game becomes too commonplace and boring. It's not fun to play nor to watch unless you're ignorant of the fact that the execution was supposed to be part of the challenge and fun to begin with because you never had that level of challenge in your games. You've only played
But execution is like, isn't it just how clean the input is that you put in? Like, if you do like a core circle punch, like, that's execution. It's not like proficiency. I don't know. I don't know. Like, maybe it's a stricter timing or whatever, but that's like kind of different, and that's more whatever.
Easy mode, baby mode games. There you go.
There you go. There you have
Starting off right here, Flash Metroid have something to say.
Can you guys hear the video? If not, I'll pump up the volume. It is max, so that means I would have to actually go and make the volume much louder in my capture setup. I guess people are saying it's way low. All right, let me pump it up.
Pump it up. All right.
It's still too low?
Still too low. Still
I'm going to bump it up.
Still
if I say 10 decibels.
Holy crap.
Bump it up. Now let's see if you guys can hear.
Bump it up.
You see it right here saying, this idea that players are better today is hilarious and definitely false. I see FGC reacting. If I could talk Damascus right here saying, in my opinion, players are better is wrong. There is more high-level players than before is the correct statement. Okay.
That's interesting. It's not that the players are better. It's that there's more players who play at a high level, but it doesn't mean that they were better than the previous. Huh.
What?
Flash response to that.
That's interesting.
How did he take that? Because he just saying players are better is wrong. I agree with that. I do think that there are more high-level players. I think the player pool is bigger now than it was like years ago because there's more people playing them. Naturally, you're gonna get people who are casually playing, people who are playing to try to get into tournaments, whatever. You're gonna get like a bigger like pool of people playing these fighting games and actively like participating in that. So I do think that you're gonna get a more like tiers of players. So you might see more high level players than before.
Interesting. It's not that the players are better, it's that there's more players who play at a high level, but it doesn't mean that they were better than the previous. Huh.
That didn't say, that's not what he said. It didn't say, oh, it's not that they're better than the previous. Like, he just saying that there's more high level players than before. Like, instead of like 5 high level players, there's 10. There's 10 now. That's what he's saying. It, like, better is, because better is subjective, honestly. Players are better. It's a very subjective opinion. Like, what does that mean? That they block more? That they know how to punish a jump in? Like, what's better? That they pick up a controller?
Flash responds to that saying, I'm not sure if that's even correct. Are there a lot of new high-level players? I guess it would depend on what level you call high level.
Yes. There is almost no one right now placing or winning modern fighting game tournaments who was a high-level player from back in the day. The players from back in the day are all done or retired.
Okay, but how many tournaments is Super Turbo registered, right? How frequently are they? Like, of course, like, no one's going to be playing the older games because the newer games are going to be the ones that are going to, like, be the sauce that people play more, right? Hello?
They're not playing anymore. This is a whole new generation. So I don't know what Flash is saying there. He's completely wrong. But for the record, it's funny. A lot of people are criticizing Flash Metroid for getting involved in this discussion because Flash Metroid was someone who did play fighting games back in the day, but was a youngster. All right. Or on my day when I was.
Okay, but this is bullshit because Par, I think, is a fighting game group. Because I've seen that handle around. Like, I know that I follow someone who's in that group, who's in Guilty, who plays Guilty. I think they mean Dizzy. Like, Par, I've seen Par people around. I've seen them enough times to know that these are fighting game players. And he's acting as if like this guy was never a fighting game player. Oh yeah, people are mocking for getting involved. Like, okay.
In my 20s, and I was competing and getting good. He was an up-and-comer, all right? During the era of Street Fighter 4, he actually became good, so he would be considered a 09er and not an OG. He's not even one of the older people that are really being discussed in this, but he interjects.
But 09ers are OGs amongst themselves. Like, this is, like, childish. You kind of learn this when you're, like, a teenager, or, like, when you're, like, 18 years old, like, in that window. You start to understand, like, things are going to be different. Like, for me, a retro console would be the N64. For someone that's younger than me, their retro console might be the GameCube, the Wii. Like, that's going to be what's going to be considered retro for other people. Like, as time moves forward, that, like, things are going to be categorized as retro or OGs over time. Because time is always moving forward.
Injects himself into it. So
Damascus responds to this saying, Street Fighter wise, if you
and not an OG, he's not even one of the older people that are really being discussed in this, but he interjects himself into.
But isn't he interjecting himself into this? But he only was but why is it not? Because the guy said boomers. He didn't really say any, like, which is a catch-all for people who are perceived to be people who talk about the old days all the time. Oh, back in my day, in Street Fighter 4, we had funny faces in our engines and stuff like that, or whatever the fuck. Like, that's just how people perceive people. Like, that's honestly why people call DSP a boomer. Because DSP would say shit that old people would say all the time. Oh, back in my day. So why do you think people call DSP a boomer? Like, come on. So, like, at this point, arguably, Flash Metroid could be a boomer in that sense because he's talking about the old days.
Into it. So,
Damascus responds to this saying, Street Fighter wise, if you compare 6 to 4 and you see the vast majority of elite Street Fighter 4 players are still active top players in 6, and you have to add this with all the players who started after 5. Plus the amount of players who can beat elite players is way bigger for sure.
The hilarious part about that is you notice they're only mentioning Street Fighter 4.
Because that's the topic. They know that, like, Metroid Flash is started in 09 or whatever the fuck. Like, these are the, like, and Street Fighter 4 also is the game that reignited fighting games. Like, yeah, they're not talking about the other games because they didn't participate then. Like, why, like, this acts as if, like, in order for you to truly participate, you need to, like, acknowledge everything in the past. Guys, you're gonna talk about DSP, you gotta talk about, Chris Chan. Before we get to DSP. Okay.
Nothing existed before Street Fighter 4, right, guys? No games. They don't... You're not even talking about the old games. You're talking 4, 5, and 6 are the modern trilogy.
Yeah, but they're talking about games that added players to the pool. Like Street Fighter 4 presumably had people from the old days that would want to play Street Fighter 4. That's why Street Fighter 4 has a heavy emphasis on Street Fighter 2 characters at launch, because they want people to play 4 that played 2. Then you go from 4, then you add the people stuck around that are the elite Street Fighter 4 players, add them with 5 and 6, etc. Like, you could even presumably assume Street Fighter 4 is the catch-all for the other Street Fighter games. But that's kind of like reading between the lines.
Trilogy of Street Fighter. That's not the OG games, the old games. So their discussion is even off base because they're even talking about games like Street Fighter 4 was the beginning of fighting games having dumbed down inputs and easy mode combos. You could just double tap down forward on your joystick and...
But guess what? Games have gotten easier since then. Like, this... Sure, I get what he's saying. Like, well, the games before that didn't even have dumbed down mechanics, but you could also even argue, because I'm sure there were arguments even back then that these games were also simplified. Like, from one game to the next, or whatever the fuck. Like, you could argue that too. I'm sure maybe there was a niche enough argument about Alpha 3 dumbed down what Alpha 2 did.
You can press punch and get a Shoryuken. You didn't even have to do the input. So even the people like Flash is arguing, oh, well, Street Fighter 4 is better than 6. Yeah, but 4 also was baby mode. It was before then when the games were actually harder to play.
Then Flash Metroid responds to that with the fucking list. I guess 4 versus 6. If you compare EVO 2014 to EVO 2024, the competition is roughly the same for elite players. Elite players these days have to go through a lot more mediocre / good players to get to the elite players. At the end of the day, nothing is real until top 100-ish. And it's been that way forever. All right, how you feel about that? That's a pretty good point, I guess. Nothing is real until you get to the top 100. Before, doesn't really matter.
I don't know about that, because being someone who's been in tournament before, all right.
Okay.
Man, when you have a tournament...
You're in a tournament, but he was in a tournament before this. His last tournament was Street Fighter 4. When it was starting up again. Now, tournaments are bigger events. There's more people who register for tournaments. Okay.
Tournament, let's say, for example, you're in a tournament that's a few hundred players. So you only have to win maybe 2, 3, 4 rounds to get to the top 100, top 64. Then the best matches of the tournament start to happen. Everyone good against everyone good, right? The problem is when you go to a tournament that has so many players in it, even if those players are dog shit, all right, it can definitely take a toll on you. You can get worn out. You can get burnt out trying to play in this thing. Like, how many rounds do I have to beat to qualify for day 2? How long do I have to fucking be here in this ballroom grinding out against these fucking scrubs and nobodies? And then the worst...
That is what he said. The dude said you have to grind through scrubs to get to, like, actual elite players, which would be top 100. That's literally what he said. And he's saying, I don't agree with that. Because, yeah, you go through there and fight against scrubs, and then you get to the top 100. Okay.
The worst part is, you might actually run into someone good in the middle of a qualifying bracket and you're exhausted. You've been playing all day. Like, I got to play now against someone actually good.
But that's like
so I don't
part
know.
of the tournament.
Like, I feel like the bigger the tournament gets, the more.
But that's like how every sports event is. Yeah, you get exhausted. Whatever. Okay.
More grueling it is, and there is something to say for these people who are playing in these ginormous 7,000 people tournaments, and they're grinding it out and getting to the end. That you got to get a level of respect there. At least the stamina level has got to be superb compared to back in the day when you were, even Evo back in the day was like 500 players. Now it's like 7,000, so it's like a pretty different thing.
Others are like, what the fuck is everybody doing during Street Fighter 4 days? Or they are called 09ers. Flash Metroid's like, if everybody is new in Street Fighter 4, who the fuck played 2 and 3? What about the other games? That's crazy, because I remember when I came into the FGC, I first learned about the FGC, it was around 09, shortly after, right? Officially, when I started.
So he's an 09er.
Okay.
He's not there from back in the day. All right.
Doing content, it was around 2015. But I remember at that time, to say you were an 09er, you were looked at as a joke. You were looked at like a newbie, a rookie. You were fucking green. You were like, oh, he's an 09er.
Yeah, because when you're an 09, like, current year 09. Guys, I'm an 09er. What do you think you're going to be looked at? But it's 2025, and you're talking about 09, like, that's like years apart. Like, it's not like yesterday.
This fucking guy, who's listening to this guy? It was literally an insult. Now, obviously, you say 09er, people are like, oh shit, you a OG. You a real one. You've been here forever. But nah, I remember the day when you were looked at like a damn joke. Anyway, continuing on right here, I see Speed Kick saying, I think we could say for sure there are more players who are competitive threats to elite players than just let people have different opinions on why, LOL. Flash Metroid adds saying the competition right now is not hard. Oh my God, here we go. He's getting deeper right here. He said, the competition right now is not hard. 90% of the new entrants are not good. Players these days have zero consistency or fundamentals. They enter 50 tournaments a week and perform in 2, and then they think they're clean. The best players right now are now old. The best players right now are all old.
I don't know why Flash is so salty about like new players.
Okay, let's read this. The competition right now is not hard. 90% of the new entrants are not good. Players these days have zero consistency or fundamentals. DSP literally says this all the time. Fundamentals persevere! Look at my these people have no fundamentals! We're gonna get protection to enter, fundamentals to enter 50 tournaments a week and perform in 2 and think they are, oh man, whatever. Players right now are all, oh my God, I have to listen to Bunchek read
or
this.
Fundamentals, they enter 50 tournaments a week and perform in 2, and then they think they're clean. The best players right now are now old. The best players right now are all old.
I don't know why.
DSP says this all the time. And again, this isn't really Flash Metroid being salty. Like, he's just kind of describing his argument. Like, he's just describing, like, his experience with what's going on. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm like not reading it. It's just, I don't think this is a salty tweet, because I would think it'd be salty if he was saying, like, yeah, 90% of these people are fucking idiots and they don't know anything. Like, saying zero consistency or fundamentals, like, I can understand that, because there are people who have no fundamentals. Like, I don't think I have, like, that much fundamentals in a fighting game. I just kind of know to block and push buttons. But DSP has said this all the time.
Flash is so salty about, like, new players. Like, some of what he's saying is true. Yes, new players who are younger, they're seeing what it is they see internet content creation, right? And they see these players who
oh my God, dude. And then he's gonna say, oh, what's he gonna
top
say?
players they're wearing the jerseys and they're part of these teams and they're traveling
He
the
had
world
jerseys.
and they
He
say,
wore
"Oh, that's what I want to
jerseys.
be. I want to aspire to be like that."
Whatever.
Back in the day, none of that existed.
Yeah, but this is dumb because DSP back in the day when he was in the FGC, he treated it like wrestling. He acted like a fucking wrestler the whole time. That's why he was like being a heel. Oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck this guy, whatever. He would do all these fucking wrestling promos, and now he's like mocking these other people that they just want be taken seriously or whatever the fuck because of content creation. Which I mean, is everyone that enters the FGC a content creator? I don't think so. Like the Jacko player I like that won was it Evo or Arc System thing? I don't remember, but they won with Jacko. I don't think that person was a content creator, I don't think. But whatever.
Back in the day, you would look at the top players like Justin Wong or Sanford Kelly and the like, and you'd be like, well, they're good, but like, what are they rich? Are they famous? No. They're just in the FGC they are. But there's really nothing to be said. They don't have any internet presence or anything. It's just within this very...
Justin Wong has no internet presence. Dude, like, there's a meme about these fucking Capcom collections that people are like, oh, Justin Wong, I'm fighting Justin Wong, this game sucks now, and they review it badly because of that, as a joke. Yeah, he has no presence. Nobody knows who he is.
This very small community, correct?
Correct.
Now it's like, now there's something to aspire to. So when you see that, of course you're going to get way more new players. And of course, most of those new players are not going to be great, but they're going to be grinding and trying. And yeah, a lot of these kids are going to have the freedom to go to tournaments and stuff, but older people can't. Older people have...
Oh my god, dude, this is like annoying to sit through. Yo, these kids, man, these children. Yeah. How many 13-year-olds do you see at Evo? Like, get out of here. I know what he means. Like, it's what would be called a euphemism? Whatever the fuck. Like, like, I know what he's trying to say. But, like, these people are, like, young adults. Like, they're 18 years or older, whatever the fuck. They're participating in tournaments, whatever. But he acts as if, like, these people have, like, infinite money. Like, it costs money to do these things. So, and people save up money to do this. That's why some of these people don't go to every tournament. And if they do, they don't go there to place. They go there to just watch sometimes. Like, oh, I'm not going to register to fight in Combo Breaker, but I'll show up to hang out. But I'll go to Frosty Faustings, but that one I'll enter. Like, whatever. Like, some people just maybe participate in a tournament once a year and they just visit the other events that are like months apart.
Jobs and lives and families, they can't be traveling grinding constantly. The younger people can. That's how it was for me.
This dude lives in sitcom land. Like, you don't think that these people have lives? They go to tournaments that must mean they don't have lives. They have no family. I mean, if they're kids, they have parents, right? Do they have no one to talk to? Get out of here. Okay. Yeah, they don't have jobs.
Me too, back in the day where I was
no school.
Able to go to way more tournaments when I was in my 20s. I got older, I didn't want to do it anymore. I had to do other more important.
By the way, I said this at one point, but this dude says that, well, I was in my 20s. I had a lot of time, so I did fighting games. So, then why was he complaining? He had no time for an internship. He had the time to do tournaments that took money from him, but not to do an internship. Yeah, let's not think about that too hard.
Important shit to do, Now, are they entering 50 tournaments a week? No. Are they performing in 2 a week and thinking they're clean? Probably. Because to the modern FGC, again, when everything is easy mode execution, the only thing left is that kind of mind gameplay. Did I execute properly?
Loki, I'm sorry. I like, this is kind of bullshit. See, like Flash Metroid is kind of like participating in the erasing people's accomplishments kind of aspect of it. But I will say Flash Metroid at least like is saying something that I've seen other people have like said as well. Whatever. But the thing to keep in mind with all of this is that I do think it's at least admirable when people participate in tournaments. Like, I've seen people like, oh, I went to a tournament and like, yeah, I didn't get like top 8 I wanted. I got like 12 plays. I mean, you don't have to sit and say that you're amazing at the game, but to at least participate in a tournament and like make it in any direction, I think that takes a lot. Like, even if you are first disqualified, I think that is enough to be praised, at least, because there is a mental toll to not only you're competing, but you're also being watched. Like, you have like, it's so different. Even when I have a friend over and I'm playing ranked mode in Guilty Gear, I get nervous. It's like, it gets in the way when I'm playing. Sometimes it's like, you know I can handle it on stream because it's like I can tune out like from the stream chat pretty easily when I'm playing a fighting game. But when someone there is like in person, it's a whole different thing.
Properly get them to the corner, 50-50 guess and win, and then I do that consistently. Oh, I'm good. Well, actually, you're probably not. But at the same time, that's the modern game. Like, that's the meta of the game. If you tried to play someone in an older fighting game that had way more to it than this easy, simple meta, you'd probably get your ass handed to you. You wouldn't even be able to play. You'd probably go home crying to your mommy. But that doesn't mean
oh my god,
that you're bad at
and then this like backhanded like snide little insult. Yeah, the modern FGC, if they play the old games, they're gonna cry. Yeah, because young people are such snowflakes. Okay, man.
way more to it than this easy, simple meta. You'd probably get your ass handed to you. You wouldn't even be able to play. You'd probably go home crying to your mommy. But that doesn't mean
fuck off. Like,
that you're bad
dude
at the games that are modern.
always has to put down the younger
like,
audience as if they're fucking sissies. Like, dude, this is such a boomer attitude. Like, and he wonders why no one takes him seriously.
I think some people are just very salty that modern fighting games are different. I'm one of them. Why? Because I've played better games. And I wish that modern fighting games were as good as the old ones. But as we get older, I think we realize there's not much you can really do about that. They're going in this direction where they just want them all accessible to the masses to make mass money. They don't really care about the quality of the games they put out. They care about how much they can sell, right?
He says
Just like anything.
This is a quality game.
Why do you think movies get worse over time? TV shows get worse over time.
Oh
Music sounds
my
like
God,
diarrhea in your ear.
This is like annoying, dude. Like, this dude larps so hard to be a movie buff, and he isn't. He's not. I watch way more movies than this dude. Like, not all movies get bad over time, or there's no such thing as good movies in the modern era. There's still good movies. They're just harder to watch because there's a lot of money on, in the game at this point. Like, you're competing against fucking Disney what are you gonna do, right? But there's still good movies out there. Like, I just saw this movie about the band Pavement, and it was a very funny movie. I liked the documentary. It was kind of like a joke documentary in a lot of ways, but it was a very good movie, and it got me into their music. Like, come on.
In your ear. Because you get older, you realize the stuff before was better, but now you're getting older, you don't like the modern stuff. That's what happens. It doesn't mean that the modern players are bad. It just means they're good at something that's different, and some people are just afraid of that, I get that because I'm part of that. I like the old school fighters. I wish there was another game that played like CVS2 or Third Strike or Super Turbo, and there's not. There's no modern fighting games that play like old games. Instead, it's all based on get one hit and get a giant combo for flashiness so everyone can go, ooh, ah, or some simple meta that could be figured out. Fighting games that play like old games. Instead, it's all based on get one hit and get a giant combo for flashiness so everyone can go, ooh, ah.
You can get more ooh, ah moments in like Exard than in Strive. And Strive is a newer game. What happened?
Or some simple meta that could be figured out in a day, and then the whole game's busted. But,
He finds out meta in CVS2 in a night. He plays that game, and his chat tells him the meta, and then he's like, I get it now.
Not going to go back to the way they were unless there's demand for it. Will there ever be demand for old fighting games? No. Why? Because the modern ones are best sellers.
Why do you think that they make these fucking collections then, DSP? If they don't sell, why do they make collections? Whatever.
If Street Fighter 6 tanked and didn't sell, then maybe things would go back to the way.
No. What would end up happening is either one of two things. They'd either make the game even easier, or they would just stop making Street Fighter. Like, the idea that, like, if sales tank, that the company's gonna learn their lesson and make something that you want them to make is a idealistic view of what technically should happen, but will not happen. Because that's not how the world works, unfortunately.
The way they were. But when you reward something, it will continue. If Street Fighter 6 is a great seller, they're not going to change it to go back to the old ways. So there's nothing that can really be done.
Then
Either you choose to perform in the modern era, how the way that things
praised this game for an entire year. And then it's like, well, if you buy it now, you're not rewarding that. You're rewarding bad games or whatever the fuck. Why didn't you say that year one? He participated in the ad campaign to make people buy the game.
Things have adapted, or you go away. I went away. I said, bye, I don't like this. I didn't like Street Fighter 4 that much. I hated Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 6 is decent, but I'm not going to grind away at a game where I don't really...
He wasn't going to grind away anyway. I don't know why he keeps pretending as if like Street Fighter 6 was going to be the game that's going to bring him back to tournaments. That was never going to happen. It was always fated to be a dropped game to begin with. Like, I was surprised he bought Season 2, honestly. I was not expecting him. And from the looks of it, he's going to buy Season 3, which is insane. Just a waste of money. And he's going to be part of the problem. He's going to buy Season 3.
Enjoy playing it at a competitive level. I think
just to play Sagat. I know it's Sagat, but Sagat is like a funny name. That's all he's going to play for. One character from Super Turbo. He won't play Elena because she's from Third Strike. She's a more interesting character than any other character. So why would he play her when he could play boomer-ass fucking Sagat? So he could play more Super Turbo combos. Because this dude never played Elena in Third Strike in any meaningful way. Like, at all. So he has no combo loops with her. So why would he play her? Meanwhile, Sagat was a character in Super Turbo. So he already has a pre-established try-hard combo routine he could play with him. Like, get out of here.
I think it's kind of boring because it's too samey and repetitive and just not that interesting to me. I'd much rather play Super Turbo or CVS2, so I'll play those games. And I'll let the new gen come in and swoop in and take over, and that's fine. But some people are salty and don't want to release that, I guess, right?
So basically saying it's all...
Yep, but the thing is, like, Flash Metro is not even complaining about the game. He's complaining about how people are acting in the game. He's not... His whole argument wasn't even about the video game. He's arguing that these people who are playing these games think that they're really good and they're not. Like, that's all he's saying. He's not saying that all these games back in the day were hard and this and that. Like, that's not even what he's saying.
It's all the OGs. All the players that were good back then are the same players that are still good now. It's insane to me to try to claim Noah.
How is that ridiculous? DSP has said the same thing in different ways. But whatever. I mean, if we're talking about a new generation where we are drawing... Okay, I think
Punk, who played in Street Fighter 4. I'm still waiting for someone to list these young killers so I can really destroy this ridiculous conversation. Oh!
So, I mean, if we're talking about a new generation, where are we drawing the line? It's insane to me to try to claim Noah and Punk, who play Street Fighter 4. I am still waiting for someone to say these young okay. So he's saying that it's ridiculous that people are listing Noah and Punk as, like, newcomers when they played in Street Fighter 4. Which, I get the argument, because Street Fighter 4 at this point is an old game. Like, you can't really play that on anything else. I mean, well, you can. That's not really true, but... It's an old game. Like, Street Fighter 4 is an ancient game compared to Street Fighter 6. And he's asking for people to, like, list him like Street Fighter 6, like, killers, basically.
Oh, okay. Because he's like, you can't claim Noah or Punk because they were around back then.
And that's why DSP mentioned them, because it was mentioned in the video. Oh, yes.
They were rocking in that game, technically, so they're a part of the group that he's talking about. He's like, where are these young killers? So I could destroy this conversation. But honestly, when I'm thinking of people that are still top 8s, top 32, or, you know, taking home trophies, they're all the OGs. They're all the people that I fucking remember from when we was playing in the Street Fighter 4 days. And down here, we'll wrap it up. He said, bloated with horrible players. The only difference between playing back then and playing now is that now I face more bums before I get to the hard matches, and the bums now are way more random because they are now entering 3 or more events tomorrow.
Is he just complaining about the sheer number of players entering a tournament?
No, he's complaining about people who are like, who aren't like proficient at the game that he has to fight through to get to people who actually play the game. Like, this is like what DSP complains about when he plays fucking these fucking collections, and he plays people that he perceives as scrubs. Oh, these people learn a lag pattern. It takes so long for me to get an actual match, and this and that. Like you've heard him make these same complaints actually. Oh, dude, like Street Fighter 6, I have to go through so much cammy bullshit to get to an actual good player. Oh, man.
Was that not... See, this is hilarious to me. Seriously. This is hilarious to me because back in the day, all right, the complaint was you would go to a tournament and you would enter, let's say it's a $5, $10 entry fee to get into the tournament, right? So you pay your $10 entry fee to enter, I don't know, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The tournament has like 100, 200 players. Let's say it's a local, right? So 100, 200 players, you win the whole thing. Here's your reward, $70. Yeah, no, seriously, like back in the day, it was awful. There was no prizes, right? The rewards were all, you were playing for the love of the game.
Again, he's taking this argument and like shoehorning it into his old rants. Like he's repackaging his old rants in this. That's all this is. This is like really like, hey, take the same stuff we've been selling, just put new paint. Just put a new paint on it. Let's sell yesterday's meat in today's label and call it new. Like that's all this is. Because that's not even what he's talking about. He's like, well, see, now that there's prize money involved because it's sold out, and now there's a lot of people playing it. That has nothing to do with what Flash Metroid is talking about. Like all this is like he has complained about new inputs, video meta or whatever the fuck, and now this. These are all things he has already ranted over and over and over and over. So what was the point of reacting to this? Just to say the same shit? And where's the now he said earlier that there's corroborating testimony to what he has been saying, but the whole time he has been kind of arguing with Flash Metroid, who has said the same shit he says. Like he's like, I disagree with what Flash Metroid said, but he says the same stuff Flash Metroid has been saying. Why do you want to disagree with him? It seems you want to agree with him. This dude loves sounding like he's a contrarian, but it's so obvious that he wants to be a contrarian, but he can't ever agree with anyone. He doesn't want to agree with anyone. Even though the arguments he brings up are in a way a like some Frankenstein's monster way of agreeing with the point he wants to disagree with. He wants to disagree with Flash Metroid, but he doubles down on what he says, just retooled what he said. Like, it's funny. Now, Flash Metroid, arguably, is a little bit more precise in what he's talking about, and DSP is saying, I disagree, and then argues it in a more broader way that is far more dumb. Why?
You were not playing for a big reward. So everyone always said, man, I hope the FGC one day will make it big. Back then, the big thing was MLG. So MLG was into Halo and stuff like that. And everyone was like, man, if only Street Fighter could go to MLG levels and could have a whole circuit based in there and could have teams of sponsors.
Halo was not around. Or those MLG stuff wasn't around when Super Turbo was new, Grandpa. Like, MLG stuff was like, what, the late 2000s? It was honestly when Street Fighter 4 was new. Get out of here. Shut up.
And then it would actually be profitable to play at a high level. We want to be there. We want to grow to that level. So now the FGC's at that level. You got Capcom Pro Tour. You got, your other circuits. You got all these teams signing.
And this is, again, he is generalizing this statement and thinks that everyone in the FGC was saying this. who said this? Like, being taken seriously and all that kind of stuff is very different than a company saying, hey, there's money to be had here. Let's expand this. People are going this Evo thing every year. Why don't we support this thing? We make fighting games. This could be a revenue source for us. And then then it goes from there. That has nothing to do with what the FGC does, because the FGC clearly wants to get sponsors or support to keep doing the thing that they love to do. Things cost money, my guy. Hello?
Signing people, paying them to play and stuff. And now the complaint is, oh, there's too many bums.
But this is different. This is very different. And he's like, oh, now they're complaining about their bums. They won, and now they got bums. It's like, the people who are expanding these and having bigger prize pools are not the same people who are complaining about this. If Flash Metroid was like the CEO guy who came up with the idea to expand Evo and have bigger prize pools, then yes, then you could complain about that, about Flash Metroid being a hypocrite. But guess what? That's not what Flash Metroid is known for. This is something completely out of anyone's power, and he's like mocking them for complaining about the existence of scrubs. Shut up! This is so like an uneducated fucking segment from this guy. He has no concept of anything.
There's too many scrubs. Man, I go to a tournament, I gotta beat like 17 scrubs before I get to a good match. Well, isn't that what you wanted? That was the complaint.
When did he say this? When did he say, I wanted this to be big. I want everyone to play it. If it, like, he's actively arguing against it. When did Flash Metroid argue for this then? And like, this is why I said Flash Metroid makes better arguments than DSP, because you read what Flash Metroid has been saying in this. All Flash Metroid is focusing on are people who enter these tournaments who are not good, that are not on the top, that don't make it to the top 100, and they lose constantly. They're constant losers, and they keep participating in all these tournaments that they have no business in signing in for because they suck. I mean, you know, that's an opinion, and of course you could argue that, well, tournaments are meant to like kind of do that because you're supposed to weed through people who suck and you work your way to the top. He's arguing that there's a lot of them because these games are so easy, or that they are more easy to pick up, that more people can think that they're actually good in the game, and they may not actually be good. And that has been a thing that's been going on. And honestly, I would argue kind of that could happen in any fighting game. In any game you play. Like, even back, let's say that these newer games don't come out and all we got is Super Turbo and Third Strike. Like, these were the games that they're focusing on with their game philosophy. I am sure there'd be people that would play them and still feel that I learned this game and I'm good at it, and will still be in the situation. But but again, all Flash Metroid is focusing on are these people who are not like proficient, and DSP is widening his argument to everyone in the FTC. Like, it's an irrelevant argument that is a joke. Like, if he were to reply to this Twitter thread saying this, they would laugh at him and ignore him, or just not respond to him, or say, is this the guy that fapped? Is this the guy? Is he the guy?
Playing that you were wasting all this time and money traveling and playing in tournaments, and it wasn't profitable. You were actually losing money. You could actually be a top player back in the day, and all you did was lose money. You couldn't make money being a pro. There was no pro Street Fighter player back in the day. Now there's pros, and the complaint is there's too many.
I love that he only considers people pros when there's money involved. You can't be a pro and do it for free. And it's like, I think it's like, as they say, like wrestling lingo, like a professional wrestler is someone that works in the WWE, but that's like very narrow-minded thinking. You could be a pro at something and not like be paid for it. Like, that's not how people measure pros. Come on.
Too many bums? I want more bums. Bring in the bums. Bring me lines of bums to
But guess what? DSP is the one that wants more bums. He says he wants more scrubs so he can learn the game. He complains more when he's not fighting enough scrubs to win. That's why he goes to these fucking collections. He can body scrubs in them. Every time that he's given a chance to, once someone beats him enough times and they get better at the game, he doesn't want to fight them. And he complained about, how am I supposed to learn these characters? I keep playing against people who know the game. But then when he's like playing against scrubs, it gets to the point where he's like, I need to learn the game. I need to play against good players. DSP is a whiner. He's a big ass baby that whines every which direction. This dude is garbage. And he's participating in this argument because he thinks he's so knowledgeable because he happened to play fighting games in the formative years. Get the fuck out of here. This dude is such a fake person that's a bum. He is the progenitor of bums. He was the bum then, and now fortunately for all these up and coming bums, they are probably taken more seriously than DSP. Like, if you put me alongside DSP as far as people who think that they're good at fighting games, I feel people would take me more seriously than they would take him in a heartbeat, and he has a fucking 4th place Evo brag, and I don't. Like, that's how much of a bum DSP is.
Pad these pots and make it profitable for corporations to invest in them, so there's money to be had. Or else you're spinning your wheels for the love of the game, but you're never going to make any money doing it. I'd be happy that there's more people. Seriously. I don't get his argument here.
We've heard this debate to death quite a few times, right? As far as like the old versus the news. I think Mena has brought it up quite a few times as well. I want to say Mena considers himself a part of the new group. I don't know when he officially started, but the way he kind of talks about it, he says like,
It's hilarious. They're all new group to me because none of these people obviously were around back in the day. These are people who all started at the very earliest in Street Fighter 4.
The competition-wise.
Yeah, okay, but use your big boy brain and think about the time, like, when did Street Fighter 4 come out? In 2009. What year is it now? Like, it's a big gap. Like, it's kind of silly to say that people who started in Street Fighter 4 are new. Like, come on. Like, at some point, everyone gets old.
That he believes it's harder nowadays. I could be getting that wrong, but I think that's usually what his point of view is. And then you go into debate, like Speed Kicks and other, just let people know, okay, there's more, like there's more numbers, but let people argue what elite actually means. What does that actually mean to you? Just leave it up to opinion, because that's where it's gonna fall at the end of the day. But Flash is taking it from the point of view is like, okay, there's just more bums. It's like, I have to face way more fucking random bums before I can get to the real shit. Because yes, there are more numbers, but that doesn't mean it's harder. You know what it reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that scene from fucking 300. Remember when Gerard Butler, he took his men and they was off, took them soldiers and they were off to go do some battle. And then they linked up with another group that had more than them. And the guys were looking at Gerard and he was like, I brought more soldiers than you did. And Gerard was like, okay, what do you do? Pointing at their clique. What do you do? He's like, I'm a school teacher. Bullshit like that. What do you do? I take care of animals. He was like, okay, and what do you do? And then he points at his guys, yo, what do you do? And they were like, yeah, like we do war, bitch. And then he looks back at them and says, I brought more warriors than you did. Don't get that shit twisted.
But guess what though? Guess who lost? Guess who lost? Yeah, that's right. The what's that noise? Whatever. The Spartans lost. Ah, yes. The biggest losers. All right, let's get back into this bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Just because you have more numbers doesn't mean you got more people. He looks back at them and says,
Yeah, but look who lost. The Spartans. They end up losing, guys, okay? So what do you think about that?
Got more warriors than you did. Don't get that shit twisted. Just because you have more numbers doesn't mean you got more people, more elite fighters than I do. It kind of reminds me of this argument right there. Just because there's more numbers nowadays doesn't mean y'all
bragging about an army that ended up
there's more
losing
killers,
to the Persians.
there's more sharks in these pools, baby. It just means there's more of y'all. And I guess the argument as well is the games are dumbing down. So people are going to look at that with the new generation. Like, even if we have quadruple, whatever, more players, so like, okay, but look at the quality of the game versus what we had to go through back then. And I guess the main point that he's making is most of those guys that were there, because the FGC is technically not that old, because our OGs, our fucking people that started with it are still here competing, and they're still here winning. So I think it's a good point of view. Now,
but again, it's so weird to me if you hear this, because he's saying OGs are people from Street Fighter 4. They're not.
He's saying in this argument it's OGs in Street Fighter 4 because it's a 2009 game. Like, I know DSP is Mr. Well, I am the OG because he loves bragging about being a fucking boomer, more than fucking boomers. But dude, like, people of 09, Jesus Christ. But people who have played Street Fighter 4 in 09, and that's where they started from, at this point that is an OG, because guess who's still going to tournaments? People who are playing, like, who are, like, known for Third Strike, Super Turbo, who may not go to Evo as much anymore or whatever. Like, at this point, these are the OGs now. These people are also OGs, because it was a different time back then than it is now. Evo was not the same in 2009 as it is now. Like, come on.
OGs are people from the 90s and the 2000s who were there in the formative years of Street Fighter. All right, before Street Fighter was profitable, before Street Fighter had corporate sponsorship, before there was a tournament.
Street Fighter was not profitable in 2009. This dude acts as if, like, the moment Street Fighter 4 came out, Evo was huge. They sold it to Sony. They had Evo Day or whatever the fuck they awarded Evo that one year. Like, come on.
League, circuits, teams, and all that. The OGs are people who played the big
The
four.
teams were like, what, in the 20s?
Right?
Like
Super
in the
Turbo,
2020s?
CBS 2, Marvel 2, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Anyone who was good.
Of course. All the fucking boomer-ass baby games he plays. Not I'm being mean about that, but these are all old games. What about Guilty Gear? What about Exart? Exart was, like, also, like, in the 2010s, I think. But because it's PS3 era. But this dude is sitting there acting as if, like, all this stuff was, like, come on.
Good in those games, those are the actual OGs. What he's talking about, or what they're talking about, are OGs from the modern Street Fighter era. Get it? The OGs they're referencing are 09ers.
Okay, but
so the 09ers also are still the best at modern Street Fighter. My question is, what happened to the people who actually...
But they're complaining about Street Fighter 6, though. And now this dude's like, what about people like Ree? What about the boomers who played Super Turbo? Dude, they're not even talking. Why would we talk about people who are not even participating? Oh yeah, they should talk about DSP. Oh dude, let's talk about, like, the bums of the FGC, like all the people who suck at the game. Okay, DSP who hasn't played Street Fighter 6, who entered a tournament in, like, decades. Yeah, let's talk about that guy.
Actually played these games when they were hard to play. They all are gone. You got someone like Justin Wong, who is still a big commentator, a big creator in the space, but he's definitely not a high-level top player in the modern games who's placing all the time and winning all the tournaments.
He doesn't want to.
He'd much rather cover it.
I think it's kind of funny that this dude is assuming the fact that that Justin Wong isn't, oh my god. I'm spacing on this. That he's saying that Justin Wong isn't playing in tournaments. That must mean he doesn't like these games. Which is a very funny statement, because how do you know that? How does he know that Justin Wong doesn't like modern fighters? What if he does, and he just doesn't want to participate in tournaments? Just because people don't want to participate in tournaments doesn't mean that they don't like the game, or whatever the fuck.
Cover it in a different way and add his extensive expertise in a way that is not just me playing the games competitively, right? Get it? And that's good. That's a good thing. But where are the real OGs? There's very few of them.
They're irrelevant.
That are left. You can argue Daigo still plays, Tokido still plays. There's a few.
So where are the OGs? Well, they still play, but who cares about them?
The people from back in the day who were the big players are long gone. They're not playing the modern games. Why? Well, I'm sure there's various different answers. My answer.
I love that for DSP. It's we have families and this and that. But like again, how does he know everyone's life situation?
Is I know for a fact there is a large group of them who just don't want to play them because they're not fun to play for us. We grew up at a time where fighting games were hard to execute, hard to learn the frame timings, hard to do the combos. Everything was difficult. Lots of practice, lots of necessary experience. Not the metas on the internet within a week. You can lab it out for a day, and now you know everything. Go have at it, kid, and pat him on the back. Back then, it was months to years of arduous grinding, time investment, money, travel, just to learn. There was nothing even on the internet to teach you the games. So it was very different. Today, I guess ever since the 09ers, right? Travel, just to learn. There was nothing even on the internet to teach you the games.
Yeah, but the internet wasn't, it was not even existent back then. Now it is. And then this dude was like, yeah, we would not share information. But then he's mad that people are now sharing information.
So it was very different. Today, I guess ever since the 09ers, right? Since YouTube and streaming, it's a lot different. And so they're having their own arguments among their own community about what's OG versus newcomers, when the actual OGs are sitting back like, what the hell are you talking about? None of you could even...
This is like, oh my god, dude. This is so dumb. It shows that, like, he has no passion for any of this, because these people are having this argument, or this discussion. They're having this discussion because, get this, they care about the fucking shit that they're playing. DSP doesn't care, so he's like, yeah, what are these people talking about, blah, blah, blah. Of course they're not gonna have an opinion, because they don't care.
Even play the old games at all. Good luck doing the frames, the one frame links and shit.
But that's completely irrelevant to what the argument is. They're not saying... Nowhere in this argument did they even shit on, like, the old people. He's acting like they're saying that, like, these older players, which could be, I guess, a catch-all, but they're talking about the people who are miserable and saying that these people suck at fighting games and this and that. Then Flash Metroid talks about how, like, well, players who keep losing, like, they have no business at running a tournament, keep showing up in tournaments and they fight through all these people to get to the top 100 or to people who actually play the game is bullshit. Like, that's the argument. Not, well, like, whatever the fuck. Like, this argument about, like, oh, good luck playing the old games is irrelevant.
From back in the day, good luck full parrying something in Street Fighter 3. Good luck executing these crazy fly-refly combos. You couldn't do any of that.
Is it the end-all be-all? Who's to say? Because I guess a lot of it's going to be...
The skill gap is still different between 4, 5, and Street Fighter 4 through 6. Each game has a different skill cap to them. He's acting as if, like, that's irrelevant. Once Street Fighter 4 made it easy, all these games are easy, period. Not that they all have different forms of skill and this and that. Like, this is probably why some people would argue that these people who are saying that these newer games are easier to play and this and that, they're just upset that it may have a different skill cap than what Street Fighter 4 has. But then when Street Fighter 7 comes out, that's going to have a different skill cap than what Street Fighter 6 has. Like, that kind of stuff will always be different with each game.
The opinion, but I will say, Flash does make a hell of a point. How y'all feeling? Let me know. All right,
and that's the debate. But the one thing that I'll say, the funny part about that is Flash Metroid.
But again, we don't even talk about that Invincible game and 2XKO. That wasn't even relevant. He brought that up because it was free bonus points, because that's another fighting game discourse that DSP avoided having, because he doesn't have a take.
All this. And Flash Metroid is essentially an 09er, meaning he was there back in the day playing the classics, but he wasn't that great. He was okay. He didn't, like, come out into his own until the Street Fighter 4 era, where he started playing competitively and doing really good.
Wait, what?
So there back in the day playing the classics. But the funny part about that is Flash Metroid who's saying all this. And Flash Metroid is essentially an 09er, meaning he was there back in the day playing the classics, but he wasn't that great. He was okay. He didn't, like, come out into his own until the Street Fighter 4 era, where he started playing competitively and doing really good.
So
even for him to act like, oh, the OGs.
So he played the classics. So him saying, oh, good luck doing parries, dude, means nothing when, simply put, he played the older games, so he knows that there's a difference between these games. I mean, he has more of an idea of what he's talking about. Okay.
So you're not even an OG, you know? You're really not. This whole debate is weird to me because I'm from a different era, or I am. And to me, none of these modern fighting games are hard to play. That's the problem. Like, take a look at a game like City of the Wolves that just came out, okay?
You didn't even play it.
I played the first wave of the beta, all right? And I started playing, I'm like, so there's really no execution to this game. All it is you do one special move, you cancel to the next special move, then you do this move, you do a giant combo that's like 60, 70% damage. You could do it within a few minutes. You could figure it out. Back in the day, if you actually wanted to do a giant custom combo or whatever, you had to practice, you had to grind, you had to figure it out. It's like, well, how is this fun then? There is no era of discovery. There's no era of anything. It's just, everything's just given to you, handed to you right up front. Here's all the easy tools.
But someone that still has to go through the work of finding these combos, recording these combos, then someone have to watch the videos and then practice it. Watching a combo on YouTube is not enough to know the combo. I can watch someone do crazy combos as Baiken. Doesn't mean I'm gonna master Baiken.
To do everything in this game. So it takes out the element that's fun to me. It really does. Like, I think a lot of people back in the day, that was part of the experience, was going to the arcade, competing, discovering tech, the camaraderie, all of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Camaraderie. But it does, it's funny when he was shitting on like people watching YouTube videos, he kind of made it sound as if there was no camaraderie back then. Yeah, nobody would share their tech with you. If you asked them how to play, they wouldn't tell you, man. But now, because he was so upset that people were sharing tech, but isn't that a form of camaraderie? Okay.
It confuses me because I feel like the true OGs, the people from back in the day, that's why they're not competing anymore. It's not because, oh, the games are too hard, the new gen has moved in and swooped in and taken over.
This argument is not even any argument on the planet. Nobody's arguing that the new gen swooped in. I mean, if anything, DSP would complain about that all the time, but nobody's saying, oh, the new gen, like, dude, people, of course, new players are gonna get into fighting games. There's always a new fighting game player born every day. Just, like, whatever.
Over. The OGs could never hang. No, the OGs don't want to hang. They're bored with your games. Get it? The OGs think that Street Fighter 6 is such a boring game because it's so repetitive. It's so samey. You can't discern player from player unless you're looking at the names on the screen because the tech is so easy to execute. Everyone plays it the same. There's nothing interesting there. The first year of Street Fighter 6 was great. The moment that everything was discovered, the meta was discovered, the game's boring as dirt. I don't want to play it anymore. I'll go back to Street Fighter 6 when Sagat comes out. Why? Because I like Sagat. He's a cool character. He's been in Street Fighter since the beginning. I'll see how he plays in Street Fighter 6.
Of course. Now, I love that, like, oh, I gotta play Sagat. He was there since the beginning. But how come Mario Kart can't stay Mario Kart? Mario Kart was Mario Kart since the beginning. Right?
For a little bit, then I'll probably get bored and drop it again. But no, the OGs didn't quit or can't hang with the new generation. That's
nobody's even saying that. They were saying that, like, they're just saying that they can't get over the fact that there are people who are like, because half the argument, and I don't think anyone really focused on that side of it, where they're saying that they were erasing people's accomplishments. Like, they're not acknowledging that newer players' accomplishments because they're bitter about the games or whatever the fuck. And every argument after that was kind of, in a way, erasing on new generation's accomplishments in these fighting games. But again, like, Metroid Flash at least was like, who are these newcomers? Like, and then, whatever. That's all he was asking.
That's ridiculous. The OGs just don't like the game. That's why they're not playing it. I get a test, and there's tons of people that I know who I've been talking to recently who are like, yeah, we just don't want to play. The modern games are dog water bullshit. They're terrible. They're not fun to play at all.
Yeah, because they're a bunch of has-beens. They probably got their asses kicked. Blech.
Okay, let's do shout-outs, all right? We've got UB... Oh, by the way, I will say one final thing to Button Check here, and I'll even say it on the screen.
I love we need to have this on the screen.
I believe his name is Ernesto or Button Check. Your content is actually quite good. You covered things well. You've covered me before, but he keeps saying, I don't know how to find DSP's content. It's here on DSP Gaming. If you get it from anywhere else...
This is so stupid. Okay, whatever.
It's out of context, and they've probably taken anything interesting out. You're just watching highlights that are not going to be the full story. Just watch this on my podcast here on DSP Gaming, the June 22nd episode of the Level 1 podcast. That's where you can find the original content. Who knows if he'll actually see that, because he'll probably just see the clips, but it would be nice if he could actually see the real content, because he only sees the clip.
Well, what does it matter? I mean, even when you reacted to him, he had to clip it anyway. He was only watching a portion of the podcast. DSP is acting as if, like, Bunchek was going to react to the entire podcast.
The clips, and he never gets to see the whole thing of what I'm saying, you know?
But he did see all what you were saying.
Anyway.
The thing he got it from was from Raw Phil. And it was just the podcast. That's all it was. Okay.
All right. So, shout-outs. We've got Ubi Ubi, who became a member this morning. Thank you to Ubi Ubi for the membership. Okay. Today, really? Where did he place? Oh. Did a $2 super chat. He says, Max Dude plays high level and wins at Life 2. What are you talking about? Maximilian Dude enters at high level and wins tournaments today? Really? Where did he place?
Okay.
Where did he place in Street Fighter 6 at CEO? What are you talking about?
Maybe he doesn't do CEO. Maybe he does locals or his own tournaments. I don't know.
Anyway, thanks for the super chat, idiot.
Whatever. Idiot.
Oh, let's see here.
I hope someone proves him wrong, but I don't think anyone did. Sad day. Jeez.
A nonsensical dollar tip I'm not even going to read. They're $2 and that's a big question. Let's see what they have to say. It was like FPS, sports games, racing games, Smash Bros. A question I'd actually like your insight on. Do you not think it's hypocritical that in the past, when it comes to other competitive multiplayer games like FPS, sports games, racing games, Smash Brothers, you said on record they should be more accessible and casualized so casual players like you can understand them? Like me. I never said like me. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think he said that
and play them because you kept losing the hardcore players.
It's case by case.
This may have been older DSP saying it instead in the moment during matches. You've been on record saying essentially the opposite to what you're saying now, unless your opinion changed, because it seems like the rules for one but not the other in terms of competitive online and accessibility ease when it comes to you. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. If you could reference...
I will say the accessibility thing, like, he said that he was for accessibility for, like, other games, because it's like, well, these aren't competitive games like Dark Souls and this and that, blah, blah, blah. The accessibility said for fighting games, he wants it to be in a separate mode. I think Street Fighter 6 kind of muddled the point a little bit, but because DSP didn't know where he truly thinks about that. But I think he mostly says that, like, he mostly mocks modern games. He likes the modern control scheme being an option, but he probably would argue that these should be its own online mode. Like, modern control players should not fight against classic control players. That's kind of, he wants to segregate them. That's basically what he'd argue. When it comes to that.
Friends direct moments. Maybe there were things that I said in the heat, or it was me doing the character if I'm playing an online game and I'm...
This is dumb. This is dumb. He's doing a character. Dude, you have very specific rants online. He plays Street Fighter 6 and has specific ass rants. What character? The character that says that Cammy's overpowered and she needs to be nerfed? No, really, she needs to be nerfed? What character is that?
Game and I'm just complaining nonstop, which I've done a million times in my 17, 18 years as a creator.
Complaining nonstop as a character? Dude, what a little bitch. That's such a bitch fucking excuse. Yeah, I was playing a character. Okay, all the trolls are playing characters that hate Phil. It's just a character. We don't like... It's not that we don't like Phil, guys. That's just a character, okay?
Because that's the shtick.
It's a shtick.
Overall, if there is an execution challenge to a competitive game, it makes sense. If every game was super easy to play on the surface level, right? Then everyone would be able to jump in, the market would be flooded, and the competitive nature of the game would be dumbed down. I think every game actually sees this happening. Did you know that right now in League of Legends this is happening? Apparently in League of Legends, there's this big debate where they're going to change the way the game can be controlled.
How would he know?
And I think what they're saying, I mean, I could be completely wrong here, but I think they're saying that
he doesn't
the
even
whole
know.
AWSD button on the keyboard could now be a way to control the game. And they don't like that. They don't want it to be like that. They always wanted it to be like micromanaged with the mouse, but now you could do it just with the keyboard, AWSD. And they're like, what if they start actually releasing characters that are based just on playing with keyboard rather than the mouse? And this could change the whole game, and they don't like that. So it's kind of the debate, the same thing in the FGC of they've dumbed down the controls, all the combos and everything are too easy. There's no motion inputs. It's kind of the same argument. So, but I don't know what you're talking about. You know, you can't say something very generalized like that. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're referencing.
What
so I can't really respond intelligently because I don't know a situation you're talking about specifically. Okay?
Okay.
But very well, it could just be me giving my usual bluster online and just talking shit for content. I don't know.
Like, he could just say, he just says a lot of stuff in the moment. He'd be more accurate than saying he plays a character. Like, come on.
Someone to the book says, the stuff before wasn't necessarily better. You have to realize things change. You shouldn't be salty because things change. New generations love it the same way you love things as a kid. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's not that it's maybe better, but it could just be that a different generation enjoys something. Generations love it the same way you love things as a kid. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's not that it's maybe better, but it could just be that a different generation enjoys something different. Personally, I enjoy fighting games when there's a challenge to overcome.
I love that we're like dumbing. Like, this is kind of what Scrub King, whatever the fuck, was saying. That people are erasing accomplishments. This dude is doing it more than Metroid Flash. Metroid Flash, again, at least had like specific arguments and points to make. This is like, well, I like the old games because they require skill. So you think that people like newer games because it takes less skill? But what if they think that it takes skill to play the games that they play? Okay.
Not just, I was able to grind out something in training mode for an hour or two, and now I can do a 90% combo.
I love that this grinding in the lab went from a couple hours to 12 hours, and now it's back to an hour or two. Okay.
And just do it ad nauseum, and the game's just a boring guessing game. To me, that's not fun. Like, me playing an old school fighter that undoubtedly has less to the game engine. Like, let's take a look at CVS2, which I've been playing. CVS2 has 6 grooves. Each groove has complex things to it, okay? But arguably, Street Fighter 6 has a lot more to it. It has parries and perfect parries and drive rushing.
So wait, but I thought Street Fighter 6 was easy. Now we're saying that there's a lot to the game? Huh?
Drive impact and giant combos and throw loops and all this. I would say it's more to the game mechanics of Street Fighter 6, but they're just easier to do. CVS2 has much harder to execute game mechanics, but less of them. I would much rather play CVS2. I would much rather play a game that's harder to play, but simpler to enjoy, than a game that's super overly complex, but simpleton to input. But that's me, because that's the era.
What?
But they're just easier to do. CVS2 has much harder to execute game mechanics, but less of them. I would much rather play CVS2. I would much rather play a game that's harder to play, but simpler to enjoy.
Harder to play, less to remember.
Than a game that's super overly complex, but simpleton to input.
More to remember, less to input. Okay.
But that's me, because that's the era I grew up in. The kids today play.
Yeah, this dude is so riddled with like nostalgia goggles that this dude mocks other people for saying the same thing that he says half the time. Like, dude, come on. This dude loves the 80s more than his own fucking family.
Playing Street Fighter 6 never played games that were hard to play. So they don't even understand the reference. They probably wouldn't even know what that means. If you sat them down in front of Super Turbo or Marvel 2 or CVS 2, they'd be like, what's this? And they'd be trying to do I can't even do a combo. Yeah, you're right.
How would they not be able to do a combo?
You're right. It's completely different. It's a whole different situation.
Though. Whatever. Okay.
I think it's just a matter of preference.
Of course, they're not going to be able to combo day one playing Super Turbo. They're probably going to have to play a while, like any other game.
Is what it is at this point. You can't say Street Fighter 6. When you criticize Street Fighter 6, you shouldn't say Street Fighter 6 is functionally bad. You should just say, I just don't like Street Fighter 6 because it's too easy to play, and I prefer a different style, a more challenging style. I agree. I think that a more challenging style.
But what do they find challenging in Street Fighter 6? Again, this is just like putting down modern games, acting as if there's no challenge in these games at all, which isn't true. They have different challenges. Like, you can argue that there's less expression in some of the games, or that it's a little bit less risk reward, or whatever, or that there's too many like catch up mechanics. But it's like, whatever.
Is more fun to play. Doesn't mean that Street Fighter 6 isn't a competitive game. You know when this debate started? Smash Brothers. Back in the 2000s.
No, that's a different animal. The reason why Smash Brothers was debated was because it's like seen as a party game. There's items that are broken. Like the N64 Super Smash Brothers, and even Melee to an extent, is a completely broken game. And how is the definitive way to play competitively, with or without items? Do you allow stage gimmicks or no stage gimmicks? I mean, like it's a very different thing, and it's like a 2-button game. It only started getting accepted in the fighting game community because more and more people are like, well, no, there's a competitive aspect to it, and then people are like, okay, it could be its own game because there is fighting in it.
Evo decided to have Smash Brothers as part of the lineup of competitive games. And people freaked the hell out. They were like, Smash Brothers, that's not a fighting game. That's not a competitive game. That's literally...
I guess what? DSP keeps calling it a party game. But he plays Mario Kart and acts as if Mario Kart's a competitive racing game. I mean, it's competitive, but it's also a party game. There's random bullshit happening all the time. Like, dude, I uploaded a clip on Twitter. I may put this as a YouTube short, but I was playing Mario Kart. I was in 5th. I was right by the finish line. You had to be like in 8th place to continue because of the knockout tour. I got hit by one item, and then like 5 other items knocked me down all the way to like fucking 12th place or whatever. And I lost because of one bad like explosion of bad luck. It was so funny, like. But if I was if these people, how is this competitive? I was doing so good.
A party game, you just hold a direction and mash a button, you get a special move. How could you have that at Evo? You've completely ruined and spoiled the competitive nature of the tournament for profits and money. And then within a few years, people started to accept Smash. Now Smash is accepted as a competitive game and a fighting game, even though arguably at one point it was like the black sheep and no one would see it that way.
Yeah, but they don't know. That's what happens when you learn.
Now, if you were to ask me what's more fun to play, Smash or old school Street Fighter, I would say old school Street Fighter. That doesn't mean Smash isn't a competitive game. But sadly, what's happening is modern Street Fighter is becoming Smash Brothers.
No.
There you go.
No.
Modern Street Fighter is literally becoming Smash Brothers.
You can say that once Street Fighter is played with 2 buttons across the board. If you could do that, then it's Smash Brothers. If you can't, then it's not. Where
it's just a party game. It's not hard to learn. Anyone could jump in. Anyone can lab for a little bit, learn the meta. So now it's more about, like what Flash Metroid's complaining about is endurance. He doesn't want to go to a tournament and have to beat 10 bums before he plays somebody good. Well, that's what happens when you go mainstream. Like, literally, that's the difference. Bigger crowds, more competition. And therefore,
but these are decisions that are outside of the FGC's control. They didn't make Street Fighter 6. Like, there's no reason. Like, they would still have a competitive scene if Street Fighter 6 had no modern controls or whatever the fuck, and they played, like, if they made Super Turbo 2 and all that, they would play it and it could go to tournaments just fine, whatever. But Capcom is like, well, we don't want to sell this game just to the FGC. We want other people to try this game out. So, like, it's not... So they don't care about the FGC. The FGC has to make do with the game that Capcom gives them. And again, if they don't support the game, like DSP has said this about Street Fighter V. The FGC said that Street Fighter V was good because they know if they said it sucks, that there would be no games to play. But that's not really the case. It's just whatever, you know?
You have to have more stamina. It's becoming now, these games are more of the grind of patience than they are the grind of skill. That's still a challenge. It's just a different kind of challenge, is it not? Okay.
Like, is there any more? He says
you'd be arguing against yourself. Doesn't that prove that it's boomers being boomers? Again, I don't know. I don't know, because you say that. I don't know if I would. You could be right. It could just be your frame of reference, and it could be your level of experience. If I didn't have
oh my god.
He says, I find it ironic if you didn't grow up in the FGC or with fighting games and just played them. Someone tipped 250, says, I find it ironic if you didn't grow up in the FGC or with fighting games and just played them recently as part of being a variety gamer, you'd be the opposite side. You'd be arguing against yourself. Doesn't that prove that it's boomers being boomers? Again, I don't know. I don't know, because you say that. I don't know if I would. You could be right.
My god,
it could just be
dude.
your frame of reference, and it could be your.
He's so fake in this. Like, he sees like Bunchek, Ernesto, being like kind of like a mediator or whatever. Like, he's kind of in the middle of the road, and he's just trying to copy his opinions, basically, and just regurgitate his old opinions. Like, shut up.
Your level of experience. If I didn't have competitive experience in old school fighting games, you're probably right. Maybe I would be arguing the other way. You're right.
Maybe I would.
Another $3 tip. Hold on. They have busy jobs and wives and kids, in some cases multiple kids. They don't have time to play anything anymore, and they probably don't even care anymore. This is old memories for them. They spend more time sharing photos on their days out with their family than they do talking about games. It's all fond memories for them. I think the new era should be allowed to form their own memories. No one is saying the new era can't form their own memories.
But that's what the first tweet kicked off with. It said that the miserable boomers were downplaying the accomplishments of the modern FGC or the newcomers or whatever, and that's what he was arguing about. And people are saying all this other kind of stuff that is kind of not really like irrelevant, because it is tied to the initial tweet. But I think it's more about the discussion of like people who go to tournaments that they think that they're good and this and that. Like they're not. Not a lot of people are necessarily saying that the dude is wrong for saying that, but a lot of people are elaborating their perspective on why they don't think that that there's a lot of newcomers that are actually good, because so far that people who are participating in tournaments are losers who lose all the time. Like,
I can personally tell you, recently having reconnected with some of the people from my past, FGC heads who back then we were all competitive. We were traveling together as a team and doing stuff. They still play fighting games. They still travel to locals. They have families. Don't get me wrong, but this is still their passion. It's still their hobby.
I love that these people are still doing like all that stuff, but DSP said that doing that is bad and it's terrible and he hated doing it. Okay.
But they're not going to play Street Fighter 6. They're going to play Third Strike. They're going to play CVS. That's what they want to play, because those are the games that appeal to them. Those are the games that are fun.
I'm going to say this. I feel like that the only reason why they don't want to play Street Fighter 6 isn't really, they hate the game. It's probably that they just don't want to learn it. Like, I can understand. Like, some people just don't want to play the new game because they don't want to learn the game, and they want to play what they know, and they want to go to locals and play the game that they know, and this and that, because they have families and this and that. Like, I feel that DSP is kind of like putting a lot of words in these people's mouth and saying that they hate these games. And it's like, that may not be what they said. They could just simply say, yeah, I just don't want to learn them. I just want to play a fighting game and just like do this. I don't need to learn a new game.
You're right. There are people who aged out and said the era of me going and playing this stuff is over. But there's still people who love it and play it as a hobby, and they don't like the modern games. I'm here to tell you personally. I know from experience, all right? Did I age out? I think uniquely, I'm someone who, if I wanted to get back into it, I could, because this is my job. But I just don't want to. Like, actually, my preference is to not play these games competitively because I don't care, because I don't like them. I'm not saying the Street Fighter 6 is a bad game, okay?
So then why do you play to win?
When I'm in the heat of the moment and I'm playing it and I get angry, this game sucks, right? The game is not a bad game, all right? It's just very different from what I grew up knowing.
Oh my god, this is because he has a platform and he's afraid that someone's gonna watch this, so he he's not gonna say what he truly thinks. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad game. No, you said it's a bad game. You said that they fucked up. They fucked the game up and all this other stuff over time. But now that he has that what he perceives an audience, he's gonna say, "Oh, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad." But then, like, once, enough time has passed and he realizes nobody gives a fuck, he's gonna go back and say, "Yeah, this game was terrible." Hopefully, Street Fighter 7 fixes the issues.
It has some of the same base elements, but back when you used to say fundamentals, that meant something. Now you can literally play Street Fighter 6 with no knowledge of fighting game fundamentals, and you can be good at it and win. And that's weird, because it means that you've changed fundamentally what a fighting game is. And that's why I don't really like them. Get it?
Get it?
I have more fun playing laggy CVS 2 than I do playing non-laggy Street Fighter 6. Got a $2 tip.
I love he says laggy Street Fighter 6, as if he doesn't complain about lag in CVS 2. Oh, okay.
I did at one point, very short term for a month and a half, do a DS Politics show, and then it ended because no one liked it. And now we're doing gaming. What is so hard to understand about that? Yikes. They want if that's how they enjoy it. I will agree with you. If the new generation are having a good time, it's all good to me. If they're having fun, there's no issue, and that's the point, to have fun. I think they should be allowed to do it their way, what they want, if that's how they enjoy it. I will agree with you there. However, there is a philosophy.
I have to disagree.
Right? Have fun doing what you want to do, as long as it's not at the expense of others.
Oh my god, dude.
And when you're telling me now that there will never be another fighting game.
Fuck off, dude. Like, that would make sense if there's no way to play these older games. Like let's say that Arc System Works starts to delist Guilty Gear games. Oh, we're gonna delist Accent Core, Exard, and we're gonna delist Overture. Then yeah, that would be fucked up, and that would be bad, because you should not only be able to play Strive and that's it. Like, you should be able to play all of them. And that's why, like, I do kind of like that Capcom's re-releasing these collections to give more people ways to play these games and all this other stuff. Them making a newer game that's more accessible, I don't care, as long as it's a 6-button game, or that there's a degree that I can have inputs and all this other stuff. Like, if I can have fun with that, then that's fine. And as long as I can go back and play the other games. There's still people who play Street Fighter 4. There's still people who play Third Strike. Whatever. And, this whole, as long as it doesn't affect anyone. How is Street Fighter 6 affecting you? How is Strive affecting Exard? It's not. People still play Exard now.
That has the level of execution and challenge that old school fighters have, because now everything needs to sell to a mass group. That's sad. That means that an art has been lost. There's an art form to the competitive gameplay of old Street Fighter that's now been lost because Capcom wants to sell millions of copies and be rich. And that's sad.
Or be successful. What if they want to be successful?
That would be like, imagine if right now, all the movies that are coming out, that there were absolutely no actual artistic movies, that instead it was all giant explosions, Michael Bay-esque CGI. There was no art house films. There was no films that were dramatic and had great storylines. Instead, it's just everything's explosions, right? You'd be upset, would you now? You're like, man, I don't just want to see explosions. I'm tired of that. Right now, modern fighting games are literally all explosions. It's all easy mode, simpleton shit. So anyone who liked the old stuff the way that it used to be, there's nothing to satiate your hunger.
Of course,
you just got to play the old games again and again.
I love he says this, but but he says that he doesn't want to play Guilty Gear because it's too hard for him. He can't comprehend Guilty Gear.
And again, because they haven't made another one like that. And they keep claiming that they're going to do it, they never do. Now they're going even further. Now there's no motions anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Two games that are like,
I understand what you're saying.
From smaller
There's no reason to say, oh, don't make them like that anymore. That's wrong. But that doesn't mean take away what used to also be good.
I mean, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle
right? I think there's enough of a demand in the market that you can make.
Gameplay.
I've been saying this for years. You know what they need to make? Super Turbo 2.
No.
What? Make a game that's made.
As I said, don't delist games. Delist Super Turbo. I think enough time has passed. We can say goodbye to that fucking fossil. That could be lost to time. I don't think anyone's gonna miss it.
For those who want execution, who want footsies and fundamentals. No big flashy bullshit. No giant drive cancel at level 7 supers, custom Super Turbo 2. Basic
there's no
gameplay,
custom combos,
zoning,
but he says that he
grappling,
had custom
the
combos
stuff
back
that
then.
made fighting games good. Footsies are back, right?
But there's footsies,
but you
in
could still
whatever.
have your Street Fighter 6. Have Street Fighter 6 continue. This is really the problem. Back then, there was a big four.
He made Ultra Street Fighter 2, though.
There was
oh
Super
my God,
Turbo,
Big Four, fucking
Street Fighter 3, Capcom vs. SNK 1 and 2, and Marvel 2. Now there's
SNK,
Street Fighter 6.
I love this. CVS 1 and 2 is one game, apparently. Okay, and now it's Street Fighter 6.
There's nothing else. There's nothing
else, yeah. Yeah, Guilty Gear, nothing's there. I mean, that did sell a lot of copies, and it's successful. No, that game doesn't exist. It's anime. It has big boobed women. Why would that count?
Nothing else at all. Either you play the dumbed down stuff or you play nothing. You got to go play the classics. That's the problem. People are having fun, great, but you're having it at the expense of all those who actually built fighting games from the ground up, who were there in the grassroots days of fighting games, toughing it out, playing for nothing.
So where were these people? I don't know. When Street Fighter 4 came out, right? Where were they when Street Fighter 5 came out? Where were they then?
But fun, because there was no money to be made. People who traveled and, sweated it out at these tournaments, these locals, and then went to their regionals, and then went to the nationals, and they were there during the formative years. Now, there's money in Street Fighter? Fuck all that shit. Throw those people away. They don't mean nothing. Out like yesterday's garbage, because we got millions of kids in to mash buttons and do flash.
But again, this has nothing to do with the FGC or anything. This is just how they make video games. Otherwise, you wouldn't see these games anymore. Come on.
Shit and do 50-50 throw loops. But what happened to fighting games? These aren't even playing like fighting games anymore. Oh, who cares? We're making money. You see? That's where I'm coming from. At least have an alternative for those who actually liked the challenge of the old school games. It doesn't exist anymore. You've eliminated one style for the sake of profits, and that's sad.
But what if that's what the game they wanted to make?
Let's see here. I got a 250 tip.
Everything of that. Maybe they wanted to make games
I could be wrong. It sounds like old school FGC had a toxic masculinity and a hyper masculinity and gatekeeping. Sounds unwelcome from your stories.
Man.
Like you'd be shouted down for having different opinions. This modern FGC sounds much more helpful and welcoming. You're right, but at the same time, at the end of the day, all that mattered was what happened in the tournament. Like people could talk shit endlessly as much as they wanted, but then when you went to the tournament, who won? And that's the determining factor. It really was dependent on skill.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, if the community was like that gatekeeping, like, I mean, I don't like get that into it because at this point, like, it is what it is. But there are people that just don't want to participate because they may get like bullied or harassed at locals and this and that, and not be taken seriously, and that may affect their enjoyment of the game, and that may not be welcoming for them to do a tournament. Because then if they win, they may not even still be given respect. Like, he can't really, like, understand a lot of these other issues that this toxic atmosphere had for some people. Because he's not a marginalized person. But whatever, okay.
There was, like, right now, this is what's hilarious about it, right? Right now, I could go to a tournament, and I'm not saying this would happen, but hypothetical. Let's say right now, I went to a tournament. Right now in Seattle, it was a Street Fighter 6 tournament. I win. I beat everyone. Right? Well, then I've proven my skill, right? No, everyone online will just shit on me anyway and say it was, he sucks, it's a fluke.
He won 4th place at EVO, and he still got shit on anyway back then. And people shit on people who win first anyway. Like, people were like, like there's a Guilty Gear tournament. I think it was like Leffen versus some guy who played Johnny, and Johnny ended up winning, and people were like, thank God he won because fuck Leffen. Because Leffen has there's a lot of like bad shit involved with Leffen, from what I'm to understand. I don't really care because I knew Leffen plays Happy Chaos, and that already like tainted my opinion of him. That I already hated him off of that, and then everything I heard after that was not good. So it's like it's a J.K. Rowling situation. Put it that way. But people would still shit on him anyway. But if DSP were to win and people were shitting them, they would actually just focus on what DSP has done over the years. They would not really like nobody's gonna sit there and say like you could give an Oscar to Harvey Weinstein. Is that gonna erase Harvey Weinstein's crimes? No. Like, are people gonna forget what Bill Cosby did? No. Like, it's not really the same either, because DSP is not like, he has not done anything that's a crime that we know of. But he's not a criminal. But people are, but then just because he wins a tournament doesn't really mean people are gonna be like, DSP is cool now. We love Phil. He won first. Like, it doesn't matter. It matters how you act, but he has a reputation. He built a reputation negatively, and he's surprised that that people still remember it and are not over the negative reputation he built for himself.
It's a fluke. That's the problem with the modern day. Back then, you could literally talk as much shit as you wanted, but it was all about, at the end of the day, how you...
But guess what? Guess what? He complained. So after he won 4th place at EVO, and I forgot who it was, but someone demanded a rematch on their own Super Turbo machine or whatever the fuck, and DSP, I think he either lost or he avoided doing it because he said, I won the tournament, I don't have to prove myself. And he didn't want to rematch the dude that wanted a run back or whatever the fuck. So he didn't want to prove himself after that. Because he's a little bitch. He's a little bitch. He wins one tournament and he doesn't want to risk that reputation. He treats it like gambling. You go gamble, you win a pot. Of course, you'd want to go back and reinvest that into gambling more to get even more. But the rational side is like, no, let's just cash in and go home. And that's how DSP treated that win. He won 4th place, and he didn't want to taint it, so he went home.
How you performed in that tournament.
And he only focused on
those who had nerves of steel.
That is it.
And
that's why he only focused on placement matches. Because those are low-stake fights that he could easily win. Oh, man.
Level of patience and basically not crumbling under pressure. Those were the people who won and earned the respect. The real respect. And it's funny because back then I did earn respect. People actually, by the end of my run in competitive Street Fighter,
like the guy who said that he was a piece of shit, he earned his respect all right.
Respect me, but now they don't anymore. It all went away, because now it went to the internet, back to online gossip and stupid bullshit. You know what I mean?
But I love that he's also separating how he acts and carries himself in general, and he doesn't think that's gonna seep into the fighting game stuff because he's not part of the FGC. So why would my behavior in general affect my behavior in the FGC, dude? That's really stupid. Like, if Hitler, we're gonna go really extreme, if Hitler decided to join the FGC and participate in EVO and won 1st place, are we all gonna forget what Hitler did? Of course not. That would be silly and stupid.
So that's the thing. As much as you hear these stories, it
God.
was like a good old boys club, a locker room mentality. You're right. Oh, yes, 1,000,000%. That's exactly how it was back then. You had to be a tough mental and physical. You had to have that, to have the stamina and the mental fortitude to actually perform, because it wasn't just a game of your skill. It was a game of people talking shit all the time and sometimes getting threats and shit. You had to be tough to make it back then. You did. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it was all about the game. Today, it's just an online popularity contest half the time, which is pretty sad. I think a lot of those things from back in the day are lost when everything's just easy mode, and now it's about who's Mr. Popular and shit.
DSP joined the FGC, did EVO, and has bragged about his position in the FGC and how he's the old guard for years. This dude, it seeks for popularity off it. That's why he cried about not getting respect for being the old guard.
Like that. Pretty stupid.
Pretty stupid.
Fighting games, they just don't have that popularity. I think I kind of understand what you're saying, but I got lost because I think that every single video game could be competitive, right? Any game, if you somehow throw in some kind of qualifying criteria, you play it within a certain
any game can be competitive. He argued that that's not the case. Now it is.
Any game can be considered a competitive game, but you know, I mean, that's neither here nor there. What we're talking about is the modern presented my stance. My stance is not that modern fighting games are bad. I actually think Street Fighter 6 is a much better game than Street Fighter 5. I don't know if it's better than Street Fighter 4. Maybe it is. But I would much rather play an old school fighter than a modern fighter because the modern fighters are boring to me. Like right now, if I play Street Fighter 6, I tell you, I'd be bored right away. Playing Street Fighter 6 in 2 years. Every sport on the planet, you could play it a lot less and have more fun if you accepted that fact instead of doing everything in your own power and time to not give in to me being right about this for whatever reason. Huh?
Huh?
What?
What?
Huh?
Huh? What?
Listen, the modern generation of players is much better than me at modern fighting games. No shit. Online, I was like, I had a winning record. I wore it.
Okay. We're back to bragging.
Oh, I won already.
All right. I think I've seen enough for this video. Oh my god, it's 3 hours. Let's do a vibe check on today's podcast. I see he's going for
over to DLC.
Oh god. Okay, I need to close this. Let's do the cold open and see what he had to say about in the cold open. Oh, he did the hand flick.
What is going on, everyone?
What is going on?
Are we on the beach? Well, we're going to be soon. Today, all the advanced information about Death Stranding 2 just hit the internet. Everyone's abuzz with it. And quite frankly, I'm staying away from it. Because I don't want to spoil myself. I'm curious. We'll talk a little bit about this, but I'm curious how much you guys think I'll actually like it and or
oh my god, dude. He's like, do you think I'm gonna like this game? Do you think I'm gonna love it? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Oh, wow.
Or not, based solely on how we know the first game was, all right? But anyway, as for today's content, this show will be a much more laid-back show. I don't have a bunch of topics or anything to talk about today like I did yesterday. So we're just going to do some open Q&A, see where it takes us. It very well could be an abridged podcast, or it could end up being full length like the last time I did this last week, and we had so much to talk about that it just went full length.
Yeah, because he sat there.
Today,
whatever.
We may beat Blueprints, and on today's epic adventurous episode, I twist.
Okay. All right, that is it for this fucking video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a fun one. And I hope to see you in the next one. All right. Bye.